Chatty House. We ballin', boy. We going up at the Chatty House. We talk about it all, bring the family out. Sub to the channel, hit the likes now. And we only going up when the lights down. Yeah, we just getting started.
That's getting cut off. All due respect to the Chatty House. Yep, we here. It's just me. Literally just sitting at the house, minding my fucking business. And these idiots. Yep, we got the cup. We got the Uncle Nearest. Yeah, we're going to get our shit off today. This ain't a radio show. So, parental advisory, explicit lyrics. Bruce, if you're listening, I'm going to have to turn this one off, man, because I'm going to get the link out. I don't have any little cute intro music like Deuce and Mo do, so I'm just going to send. Fucking Jesse does this all the time. I don't even know how to post this. Oh, we just grab it from YouTube. That's what we'll do. That's what we do, because we're going to let everybody know we in here. Yeah, because we got some shit to talk. All right, go ahead. Tell everybody we here. Fuck, retweet, do all of that dumb shit. Yeah, let me get the comments open. Where y'all at? Who in here already? We see you. Young Sav, what's good, bro? Yeah. Hey, Young Sav, talk that. Yeah, Mike Brown ain't draft a player who can't play. Wasn't Mike. Yeah, we're going to get our shit off today. Go ahead. Everybody get in here. Get in here. Fucking tell everybody to tune in. This is not a radio show. I almost went on IG Live because I'm going to cuss so damn much. Go ahead. If I could figure out, I should do this shit on Instagram too. Let me figure out how to do that. Let's go here. Now, hold on. We're gonna bust everybody up today. Let's see. Man, I ain't done this shit in so long. I don't even know how to do it live. If I say, well, can't do that. Turn that. Oh, this is gonna look ridiculous. I need some more height. Hang on, man. We're gonna figure this out. I don't have no cute little intro music like Deuce and Mo do. I don't have none of that cool stuff. Yep, but we're gonna talk shit today. All right, I think I figured out IG. So let's just hit live. 3, 2, 1. All right. We live everywhere. I don't know if Kenny's gonna. James is at the damn facility. James talked to Mike Brown 2 minutes ago, figuratively. So Mike is the fall guy. Okay. First of all, Merry Christmas. Salute. Uncle Nearest 1856. That's what we doing. We pouring that. Shout out to my man Eddie Gonzalez. I see you. Eddie knew to tune in because we're going to talk that shit right now. So Mike's the fall guy. Hey, cheers, everybody. Salute whatever social media platform you're on. Shout out to the people who actually tapped in on Instagram. I don't think I've gone live in like 4 years, but let's talk. So let's get this straight real quick. We all knew someone had to go, especially after that nonsense last night. Let's be clear about what we're talking about. Mike Brown didn't draft a player who can't fucking play. That was Manny. Mike Brown didn't put together a roster that lacks depth. That was Manny. Forgive me. That was Manny and Wes, because I guess they're tied together in everything that they do. It's Manny and Wes. Okay, fine. It's the front office. Mike Brown didn't foul a jump shooter down up 3 last night at home. That was De'Aaron. Let's talk about De'Aaron Fox here for a second, because I said to my man last night, I was hanging out with my man. Shout out Tap Wine Lounge in Del Paso Heights. Shout out Cynthia and the whole crew out there. Went out, had some wine with my man Io. Io, notorious Cleveland friend, right? From Cleveland. Can't stand Mike Brown's laid out all the reasons he can't stand Mike Brown. We talked as that game was coming to a conclusion, as the Kings blew, what was it, a 19-point lead and then a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. We were talking like, man, I think somebody's going to have to go. It's either Mike or it's De'Aaron. And I think we all know it's probably not going to be De'Aaron first. Here's what I'll say, because we'll talk about Mike. We'll talk about Monty. We'll talk about all of this stuff. I'm going to keep the show logos off here just because I'm going to cuss so fucking much. De'Aaron has to go. I have resisted saying that on the air for months, maybe for seasons. De'Aaron's time as a Sacramento King is done. You can clip this. You can share it. You can tag all of the people that defend him on social media. I really don't care. I do not say this lightly. He has no heart. This whole fourth quarter Fox shit is such a charade because his ass lays out the first 3 quarters. How many star players do you question whether he gives a shit about the game he's playing in? Dead serious. Answer that. You want to talk about all NBA plays? Brody has $200 million on the line. $200 million. Generational wealth. The man ain't going to be poor with the next contract he signs. Don't get me wrong. Man is going to live his life. He going to do right. But tell me how many star players you watch and go, man, kind of feels like he's coasting. How many? Don't even tell me how many. Name one. You talk about the top 15 players in the league. That's what we're talking about with De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron, I said this when he did the 60 and the 49. I swear to God, I don't think De'Aaron Fox knows how good he is. I don't think De'Aaron, either he doesn't know or he doesn't give a shit. He is one of the most lethal scorers ever. He's one of the most lethal scorers in the game right now. When that man says, I can get a bucket anytime I want to, he's telling the truth. So go get the fucking bucket. Name one. I'm looking at the chat. I got Instagram over here. Name one star player who you ask, does he care? Ask, is he coasting? And that press conference last night, bruh, it ain't gonna make nobody feel any better. No, tell us what happened. Own up to the fact you fucked up. Do that. Own up to the fact you screwed up the final play. Own up to the fact you was out there daydreaming. Own up to it. Ain't nobody trying to feel better. We want to hear you take accountability. Fucking acknowledge it. He couldn't do it. Oh, it's not gonna make anybody feel better. Oh, that's just De'Aaron being De'Aaron. Okay. All right. Since we blowing this whole thing up, since we holding the only coach that has been successful in the last 2 decades accountable for this, let's hold the star player accountable for this. This team changed when Domantas Sabonis got here. Now, you could talk about there being a ceiling with this franchise with Domantas Sabonis. That's perfectly fine. There's a ceiling when your star player doesn't give a shit whether you win or lose. There's your issue. You can argue over the style of play that Domas has. You can argue over the style of game that Domas has. Doesn't matter. If your star player doesn't care, you're not going to win. This isn't about puffing your chest up. This isn't about screaming. This isn't about yelling at the locker room. This isn't about starting fights. This isn't about turning into Draymond Green. This is about accountability to the players that you're out there on the floor with. This is about accountability to your coaches, to your front office, and to your fucking fan base. You ain't got none of that. None of it. And that press conference last night was the most damning thing in De'Aaron Fox's career as a Sacramento King. No one was asking you to make anybody feel better. What happened? No, it doesn't matter. We don't have to relive it. Nah, fam, what happened? Say you weren't paying attention. You could have. Tell me if I'm wrong, and I might be wrong. Tell me. De'Aaron sits at that podium last night and says, I fell asleep. I overcompensated on the closeout. We were told not to leave. I fucked up and fouled him. Does Mike have a job right now if that happens? Now, the answer may be no, he doesn't. But does he? If your star player sits up there and says, that's on me. How many star players? Peyton Manning threw an interception in the Super Bowl that everyone knew wasn't his fault. I think it was Pierre Garçon. I can't remember who it was. He was like, I turned the wrong way. That was on me. He said, that's my bad. I messed up. That's on me. De'Aaron couldn't do. When was the last time De'Aaron said that's on me? Because this is the frustrating thing with Mike Brown's firings. Now lines have been drawn. It was, and Mike pulled no punches. Mike pulled no punches. He said exactly what was supposed to happen. For like the second time in a handful of days, he calls out De'Aaron Fox. It was clear when he did that. We're fucked. And I'm going to hold off 1 second before I add Kenny, because I'm going to tell Kenny been trying to clean up his language. I've been cussing for 5 minutes. I put the little explicit label on this. So I'm going to bring my man in here. And yo, man, this is bullshit, bro. This is absolute trash.
Man, there's first of all, what's going on with you, brother? You know what I mean?
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I need me a little something myself, man. But man, there's a lot of things going on. I've been thinking about this since that game ended last night.
I can't hear you. I have. Can you grab your phone and do Instagram? I was doing the live thing, and I just realized they can't hear you.
Oh, we on. Where we at?
Everywhere. I'm on my phone. I got my phone. I got IG up on my phone. Your wife is watching. I don't mean that as a dig. She's watching.
What you need me to pull up so they can hear me?
So go to Instagram and then go to my live joint and then join me. And I think they'll have us everywhere if we do that.
Oh, IG, I got you. I see what you're saying. What you're saying. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna turn you down, but I should still be able to be heard, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as that join me thing comes up, I'm gonna add you.
There we go.
There's KC, King KC.
You know what it is, the vibes.
Come on now. All right, go ahead, Cook. I'll get it working.
There we go. No, man. I mean, look, it's just a lot. It's a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on. It's a lot that has to be factored in.
There we go.
Oh, hold on. Let me get off of these. There we go. I think we're good. All right. I think we're good now. No, we're not good.
That's me. Volume down.
All right. Okay. I think we're good now. There we go. All right. But man, there's a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on. I was thinking about this last night. As soon as that game ended, and Mike Brown said what he had to say, and it sounded like he was like, yo, I ain't going down for this one. All right. Like, I'm not going down for this one. I told them what to do. I told him what he needs to do, what the whole team needs to do. And they're not doing it. And it sounded like him saying he knew. As soon as he took that podium, he knew what time it was. He knew it was over. And he was going to make it clear that this ain't on me, guys. This ain't on me. And yeah, since that moment, I've just been thinking about it, man. It sucks. It really does. But we got to think about what's next. I tweeted out that thing this morning about, what do you guys want to do next? Because all last night I was thinking about what's the next move, because Fox is gone. Mm-hmm. Fox is gone. He's going to leave.
That's fine. Yeah. He can go. You can start this process now. Start this process. So talk to Houston, talk to San Antonio, talk to whoever you want to, KC, because I was telling everybody before you got here, he ain't it. He ain't the one. He ain't the one for this franchise. Maybe he's the one for San Antonio. Maybe he's the one for Houston. Someone told me yesterday, Jason Tatum, still today, thinks that Ime Udoka is the greatest coach he's ever had. Jason Tatum played for both Brad Stevens. He won the championship with Joe Mazzola. Think about that. He still says Ime Udoka is the best coach he ever had. Send him to Houston. He don't have to be a leader there. Here, he needs to be a leader. And, bro, he ain't that. I said this before. This isn't about pounding your chest. This isn't about screaming at your teammates. This isn't about turning into Draymond Green. This is about taking accountability for your actions, for your team's faults and your team's successes. And he does none of that. His time as a Sacramento King can be over. They can start the process right now if they want to.
I'm all for that. That's where my mind is. That's where I'm thinking. And look, I like you just kind of laid out. I'm not here to say that Fox is a bad player or to turn on or nothing like that. But what this franchise needs, I don't think he can provide. That's right. At this point. It's not in him to provide the leadership that this franchise needs. And if you want to make that move, fine. I'm down to make the move. Now, here's where it gets complicated. Here's where unfortunately, I think things were against Mike Brown, whether it's right or wrong or indifferent. I'm not making that move. Houston is my number one option. I want to work with Houston first and foremost. And to work with Houston, you probably got to wait till the summer. Like, that's what it is. Because at the very least, Jalen Green contractually, and I'm not even saying maybe you don't want him or whatever, but number one, they're not making any moves this season. Houston, I believe Houston when they say we're not doing anything this season. Whatever we do is going to be in the offseason. We're going to let this team play it through. So there's that. Contractually, Jalen Green, who I'd be open to, a lot of people are kind of feeling a little different about Jalen Green, but I'd be down for him to come back to Sacramento. Contractually, he can't be moved until this summer. So if they're thinking like me, and I, honestly, with a guy like Fox, everybody needs to be on the table. I can't close off Houston. Even if you don't want Jalen Green, I can't close off Houston. So I can't do nothing till this summer. Fox is going to be here the rest of the year. Then you look at a situation where, all right, if you're going to fire Manny and Wes, well, who's going to be in charge of that? Who's going to be in charge of what is going to be one of the biggest decisions in franchise's history here in Sacramento? And you decide that maybe in the summer or whatever the case may be. But I don't think you move on from both of them right now. So because of all that, it feels like, and we said it before we left, they lose this game on Thursday, which was yesterday. When we come back on January 2nd, everything can't be the same. Mike Brown might have just drew the short end of the stick in that respect, and it sucks. It does suck. But I also feel, we said it before we left, they quit. They tuned him out. Mike Brown said himself, I told them to do this and that and this and that, and they're not listening.
That's right. Yep.
So I don't know how, and it's not saying it's his fault, but I don't know how he continues as your head coach if they're just not listening to you.
So I get that. You're 100% right. And there's also something going on with I mean, I don't know. Mike seemed to have a disconnect with a couple of guys. I don't think he had a disconnect with De'Aaron, at least from everything I understand. He doesn't have a disconnect with De'Aaron. I've been told by multiple people there's some sort of disconnect with Domantas Sabonis that I'm not really clear on. I don't understand. I don't know what it is, but those two don't necessarily like each other, and that's a problem. And while Domas is probably the only player, and this isn't an overt criticism of everybody else on the floor, it's just glaringly obvious with Domas. He cares every game he's playing. He cares down to the final minutes. Like, you see that in the way that he plays. And so whatever his relationship is or was with Mike Brown, I don't think it ever affected the way that he plays. But you said it perfectly. Dating back to the Pacers, that team quit. It was the first time during this whole stretch, whether it was Lakers, or the Denver Nuggets, it was the first time it's like they quit. And they didn't quit last night, but how many times, KC, have we had a conversation on the radio or privately where we talk about, man, this team let their foot off the gas? Like, is that a Mike Brown problem, man? Absolutely. Is that a De'Aaron Fox problem? Absolutely. That is a problem of everybody who has a Sacramento Kings jersey on. But who the fuck are you to constantly let your foot off the gas? Y'all have made the playoffs one time in 2 decades. Y'all talking about, no, we left the foot off the gas. Oh, we had this stuff last year. Oh, we took the team lightly. You? I feel like Nas. You're the Sacramento Kings, and you took someone lightly? Bruh. I used the word last year, and I don't feel it's the case this year. I used the word entitled last year. I felt like that team was entitled. This year, man, I don't know what they are. I have no clue.
I'm not sure either. And I'm not. Mike Brown doesn't deserve to be fired. But 2 things. Number one, he had some flaws of his own, and number 2, somebody had to go. And you could say fire Monty and Wes. That's fine. That means Mike Brown's probably going to be fired anyway.
Yeah, right.
The GM is going to come in and get his guy.
You're right.
So, and they're going to have to figure out what they're doing with this trade with De'Aaron Fox and all this other stuff. I guess I am surprised that this happened because we didn't hear it this morning. I guess maybe the timing, you know what I mean? They had practice, all this other stuff, and that's what's surprising. But I was fully prepared to wake up this morning and see Mike Brown has been let go by the Sacramento Kings because 0-5 homestand. You lost in every way imaginable, a blowout, a choke job, 2 choke jobs, not being able to compete with the Lakers, all this other stuff. Every way imaginable in these 5 games you lost. That roster, that franchise couldn't stay. They couldn't stay as is. They were finished. And yeah, like I said, my focus started to shift towards, okay, Fox is going to be out of here. And I think I feel a little bit different than you. Maybe I'm holding on to hope or whatever. If he said, no, I wanted to gut this out and I wanted to stay, I'd be okay with that.
Who's he?
I'd be okay with De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox. I'd be okay with that. I would say maybe you can't be the man, or maybe
you're the problem. You're a problem.
A problem. A problem.
The problem, and that's my other thing. Sorry. The problem is still employed. The problem is the front office. The problem sat on their ass for a couple of years thinking this would be good enough. They thought, well, we got DeMar, we're good. The problem. Look, we will repeat this until we're dead. I don't know what, but something was happening draft day. And why it didn't go through, I have no clue. I don't know if it was with Kyle Kuzma. I don't know if it was with Washington. I don't know if it was someone else. There was something happening on draft day.
So I'm thinking right now.
It's like, it didn't get executed.
I'm thinking right now. All right, DeMar still happened. I'm just thinking this through. Fox, that was clearly after draft day and clearly after. That could have been a sign right there from De'Aaron Fox of something was happening on draft day. This guy didn't pull the trigger. And he's like, all right, I got to figure out what's going on here. Now, I'm with you. Like we've always said, he wasn't going to sign the contract anyway because he was trying to make all NBA. But you're right. That was ridiculous. Draft day was ridiculous. It was ridiculous on a number of different fronts. You had a deal there for a proven veteran, regardless of what people think about Kuzma. He'd be better than a guy that is unable to play right now. And you drafted a guy at the position. It's damn near a cousin of DeMarcus Cousins. Lord help me. You drafted a guy at the same position as your star player for whatever reason. Like what are you doing that for? And De'Aaron may have heard that, saw that, and be like, I need to figure out what's going on, man. Before I commit to anything, I need to figure out what's going on. Now, I'm not absolving him because there's a lack of leadership that goes on with De'Aaron Fox, a lack of leadership. And I don't really care how it gets done. I'm not saying he has to, yell and pound on his chest and do all this other stuff. That doesn't have to be the case, but it has to happen. And it's not happening. There's not leadership going on from De'Aaron Fox. So I'm not absolving him. But when you talk about the front office, everybody was like, what are we doing at that point? Now you save face a little bit. You got DeMar DeRozan. But what if you had a draft pick? You didn't have to use the draft pick you didn't have to use it. Yeah, you didn't have to use the draft pick to get DeMar DeRozan. You could have drafted or traded or done whatever you're going to do and still got DeMar DeRozan. Then you chose not to for whatever reason.
Right.
Fail. There's a number of different issues going on. Everybody has failed at their job, I believe. The players, Monty McNair in the front office, and Mike Brown. I don't think Mike Brown did the best job. He did what he could do to a certain degree, but he still was yo-yoing people's minutes. He still wasn't playing guys that we thought could help. So, there's a lot going on there, man. A lot going on.
TK asking if Clutch pressured this to happen. I don't think so. I don't think Clutch has a problem with Mike Brown. I certainly don't. I certainly don't know that. But I think I think I'm frustrated because I think Mike's a good coach. I like Mike a lot. I'm very curious to see how this all kind of unfolds when different parts of the story start to come out. But Mike is not absolved in all of this. He's not clear in all of this. He's not a innocent bystander. Like there's a lot of faults. And you mentioned the yo-yoing of minutes, man. That was, bro, that we have heard time and time again how damaging that is to a player, and the constant, hey guys, you got to be ready no matter what. No, man, like are these guys in the rotation or not? Like no one, like there are guys at the end of the Celtics bench who might play, on a random occasion because something went wrong, or because Mazzulla's searching for something. It's not constantly, all right, you guys are playing 3 games. No, I wanted to give him a 6-game stretch and see how he did. Like, Mike, no. The Keon Ellis DMPs don't make any sense. You look to, oh man, how come all these teams can't find, all these teams find that diamond in the rough, but we can never find one? No, we did. Mike seems to not like him. I get, if you're Mike Brown, what you might not love about Kevin Huerter. I can't get what Mike doesn't like about Keon Ellis and this constant, we were playing the matchups. Fuck, Mike, that doesn't work. Does not work. Every time you talk about playing the matchups and starting Doug McDermott and doing this way, and someone starting and playing, 8 minutes total in the game because you wanted to start them for 3.5 minutes in each quarter, man, that doesn't make any sense. And it's frustrating. It's borderline infuriating. And that's why Mike his hands aren't clean of all of this. Like you hold the L in this. Like you're I don't want to say you deserve to be fired, but it's not like, oh my God, Mike was fired. It's like, nah, Mike, you kind of set the pins up, dog.
Yeah, you played a hand in this. You hit, and like I said, I don't know. I'm not saying he deserved to be fired, but somebody had to go. We said this on Monday. Yeah, Monday. Yeah. Somebody's got to go.
Yeah.
I was walking around the Golden One Center after the game, talking to people backstage, just random people. It's not insiders or nothing like that, but just, some of the people that work there, some of the people that, frequent with this team a lot. And we're all saying the same thing, like, oh, somebody's got to go. Somebody has to go. And it doesn't mean that they deserve it, but this group can't stay the same and just keep on moving like nothing happened.
Shout out to the 3,100 people watching right now. If you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. If you're on Twitter, I don't fucking retweet. I don't know. Kyle Madsen from Oakley, California. Kyle Madsen, what's up, man?
Chilling. This feels very old school with you guys at home. This is awesome. I love this. It also feels very old school in that the Kings are a disaster. So this is good. This is good. Awesome. No, it's good.
Thank you.
I was having such a nice day. I'm out with my family. We're walking around this little downtown area. We're shopping, having a nice time.
Yep.
And now we're here. Gotta go, guys.
Kings,
what happened?
This is what we've learned. The Kings hate mothers. Mother, and they fucking hate Jesus. They fired Mike Brown at Christmas time. The Kings hate Jesus. Tweet it, hashtag it, do whatever you want to do. The Kings clearly hate Jesus.
Man.
I mean, I had shaving cream on my head when this news broke, and I said, "Oh boy."
All right.
Well, this is
okay.
Do you have half a head shaver now?
Oh no! I finished. I had to finish. I said, "Give me about 10 minutes." I had to finish it.
Well,
we had to finish. We ain't doing that.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Relax.
Kyle Madsen, your thoughts? Let's start with.
Yeah, man. It just go ahead.
No, I was going to say, let's start with Mike because we've covered a lot of shit. So thoughts on Mike?
Yeah, man. This wasn't the right move, man. Like maybe it was from a standpoint of maybe the players were just going to stop responding or have stopped responding. I thought last night's press conference was pretty telling. the way I think it was Sean Cunningham, or it might have been Matt George. I think it was Matt George spliced up like Mike Brown's presser and then the start of De'Aaron's. And it's like, man, there seems like there's some kind of disconnect there. And if you got a disconnect between your head coach and your best player, like it's probably not going to go well for the head coach. But I also think that, and I was listening to a little bit of you guys on the way up, but like there's such a greater problem here than Mike Brown. And I think everybody knows it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single person who watched the Kings this year and went, man, this roster is being underutilized.
That's right.
I think he was getting everything he kind of could. And we talked about the rotations and this changing and that changing. It's like, yeah, because nothing was working because they don't have enough good players. But I guess this reminds me of like the Trent Baalke, Jim Harbaugh situation, where it was really clear that there was some friction there and Jim Harbaugh was probably not long for the job, but also Trent Baalke probably needed to go as well. And I guess that's the next domino to fall because whatever this front office is doing has not put them in a position to succeed. And whatever head coach they hire, they could have Eric freaking Spoelstra in here. And I think you're looking at a relatively mediocre team.
Well, so I don't think the roster is perfect by any means, but I just don't think that's the problem. And I think the problem is they lack leadership. I think the other problem is they are looking for a guy to be a franchise player, a franchise leader. That's not. De'Aaron Fox, we asked the question, before we left, is he a leader of men? Is he a 1A and all this? He's not. And that doesn't mean he's not a good player or you can't win with him, but you clearly need somebody either A, better than him on the team, or B, just a more solid voice and leader on the team. And that doesn't mean like, Al Horford. I'm talking like you need like one of them dudes. Like he can be the second best player on a championship team. He can't lead. Hell, we talking about championship. He can't even lead this team to the playoffs consistently. You know what I mean? Like that's just not who he is. And I think if you had, we say this stuff all the time. If you had a different guy in there, if you swapped out Dame Lillard for De'Aaron Fox, are they a championship team? No, but they're not 12th in the West. We can say probably whatever we want about Portland. Portland was never that. Portland was never that. Portland was always around or something like that. And that's what we're asking from De'Aaron Fox. And as much as I love his game and all this other stuff, he's not that. I think it's clear. I think that's what this team is missing more than anything.
He reminds me of like, this might be a bad analogy, but I'm going to do my best. When you ask somebody if they want to do something, you say, hey, do you want to go have pizza? And somebody goes, yes, versus sure. De'Aaron Fox is a sure type of person to me. Anthony Edwards, for example, is a like yes type of person to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I don't know that like De'Aaron's not going like I don't know that it ruins his day when the Kings lose, and that's a problem to me.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Just to speak to Kenny's point.
I think,
I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Well,
sure, man.
I asked this question when no one was here and I was just cussing like a 2 Live Crew record. If Mike goes,
the wild part is he would have done that on the radio too.
Well, if De'Aaron goes to the podium last night and says, and I don't remember who asked the question, what happened on that final play? It was probably James. What happened on the final play? And he says, it doesn't matter. It's not going to make anybody feel better. If De'Aaron goes, I fucked up. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't supposed to leave Jaden. I left him, started daydreaming, and I closed out in a panic. I fouled him. I screwed up, and we fucking lost. Is Mike still employed today if he does that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe I see what you're saying. Like maybe.
I don't think he is, but I thought it was a fantastic question.
Yeah,
because it plays into the fact that De'Aaron never takes accountability. That's my frustration with him. He never, how many leaders have you jumped up and said, I got to do better? I use the example of Peyton Manning throwing that interception against New Orleans in the Super Bowl. Everybody on earth knew, and I can't remember if it was Pierre Garçon or who it was. He turned the wrong direction. Everybody knew. Peyton was like, I messed up. Like I messed up. It's on me. My fault. De'Aaron doesn't do that. De'Aaron doesn't say I messed up. De'Aaron doesn't say it's on me. De'Aaron doesn't. It's constantly, oh, we've got to do this. We got to do this. No, motherfucker, you got to do it. There's just some stuff you as the dude on this team has to do. There is zero question in my mind that De'Aaron Fox is a top 15 player in the league. There is also zero question in my mind that De'Aaron has no clue how to be a top 15 player in this league. You have $200 million on the line this season. You have the opportunity to join the upper echelon of this league, the elite of the elite, and you still can't find it within yourself to do it. If that, you've got kids, you've got a wife, you've got all these amazing things, you got an entire fucking city behind you, and you've got the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and that still doesn't motivate you, I don't think that brother can be motivated. He is the sure guy that you were just talking about.
Yeah. No, and look, he's not. He doesn't want. He doesn't want everything that comes with being a number one. You know what I mean? Because the good, yeah, sure, the good. Everybody wants the good. You get the shoe deal. You get, all the accolades and all this other stuff. But you have to take the bad. You have to take the bad. You have to sit up there and look at yourself in the mirror before you look at anybody else. You know what I mean? We're talking about the Draymond podcast, and the one thing that I did not like what he said was, "Oh yeah, we just don't have enough to be good, or we're undersized." No, dog. No. You just talked about with Peyton Manning. You know what, man? We got some stuff that we got to figure out, but as a leader, I got to figure it out. I got to figure it out. Whether it's delusional or lip service or what, as a leader, I've got to figure it out. You don't come up there and be like, we don't have enough to be ninth. What are you talking about? Yes, you have enough to be ninth. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. And he's a fantastic ball player, super talented. And if he goes somewhere where there's a Wemby or there's a Sengun and Jabari Smith and Bam and Coach Spo and Ime and all these other guys, he might be great. But in this particular situation, needing him to be the end all be all, the good and the bad for this franchise, he doesn't have that in him. He doesn't have that in him to be able to do that night in and night out.
James brought this up on the Insiders the other day, and I thought it was a really, really great point. I want to know what you guys think. How much do you think De'Aaron was impacted by all the losing early in his career? Like, that just kind of became the norm for, what was it, the first 6 years of his career, where they're just uncompetitive year in and year out. And now it's all of a sudden time to be like, okay, now, hey, you're the dude. You got to carry. You got to be the 1A. You got to be that guy. How much do you think that impacted him, if at all?
It's a good question. It's hard to think that it didn't, but when you make a clear cut, when you traded Tyrese or Domantas Sabonis, well, two things. You hire Monty McNair. Monty McNair's very first order of business is, De'Aaron, you are the guy. Here is the maximum contract extension I can offer you. I'm going to get you in the best position to earn the most amount of money anybody in this league can earn. Great. Step one. Step two, hey, I know we drafted this kid at your position. He's really, really good. We think we can utilize him to land someone who will complement you better, and that's exactly what we did with Domantas Sabonis. We're going to hire a coach who has coached the best players this league has ever seen. And we're going to put you in the best position that we think we ever had. And you do that with Domantas Sabonis. You do that with Mike Brown, and the turnaround is immediate. There was no run-up with Mike Brown as the head coach. The turnaround was immediate. If that can't wipe that out, nothing can.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get being impacted. I get the scar. I get being scarred by past experiences. But you have what? It's like having a fucking mean ex-girlfriend. She's terrible. But man, I got a good woman now. Like, she takes great care of me. Like, she helps me. She cooks. She's successful. She works her ass off. Like that. Like you can't keep holding on to the experiences of your past. And again, I'm not unsympathetic to that. Like, I get it, but man, I feel like that first year, Manny put De'Aaron in a great position. Now, my frustration, Casey, I'm gonna let you cook. My frustration is I felt like Manny just kind of like sat on his hands and like, we did it. The Sacramento region loves us again. We got the beam. Everybody loves us. And it's like, nah, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to do more.
No, you're 100% right. I mean,
Casey, 1 second, because this is sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is what people were waiting for. And I think, man. Okay, so Doug Christie is expected to be the Sacramento Kings interim head coach. Again, we saw DC as the interim head coach a couple years ago. And according to Shams Charania, Doug Christie is expected to be the Sacramento Kings interim head coach. One thing I'm really following, fellas, and Casey, again, I'm sorry to cut you off. I know a lot of people were waiting to hear that. Is who else, if anybody, on the staff was let go today? I think that will be a really interesting and perhaps telling story to follow. Clearly, Doug was not, and Doug will be the head coach for the remaining, fellas. I forgot the record. We still got to be at 50 some odd games left of the season. There is going to be a very large sample size of Doug Christie being the head coach of the Sacramento Kings by the end of the year.
Yeah, and look, and I know people are upset about this. Yeah. People are upset about this. I didn't want it to happen, but this was literally the only move. Manny we kept telling you guys, nobody getting traded for. Yeah. Nobody getting traded for anytime soon. Like, best case scenario, the first of the year. And I even think that's too soon. So nobody was coming in here as a player. I don't think you're firing Monty and Wes Wilcox. That's not happening. De'Aaron Fox, when you talk about trading them, I've laid it out earlier, Kyle. I'm waiting for Houston. I'm waiting for Houston. Houston has already said we're not doing anything this season. If you want to talk to us and work out some deals, we'll worry about that in the summer. So when you go down the list of ways that things can change, it only pointed to one place, and that was Mike Brown. That was it. That was the only thing that you could really change. And it's unfortunate because I like Mike Brown. Like we laid out as well. He had his warts as well. He had his shortcomings as well in this whole fiasco. And yeah, that was the move.
Yeah, I think the thing that bothers me is the way the offseason went and Mike's contract extension. Yeah. Like, I don't think that he was ever going to get that's I think what bothers me about him being fired. I don't disagree with you at all, Casey. Like, something had to be different, and this is the easiest route to do something different right now. I don't think he's gonna fix him. I love Doug. I have worked closely with Doug. I love that dude. But is he gonna turn him into a top 6 seed in the West just by virtue of being at the head of the bench? Like, I don't think so. But on the other hand, it feels like they've just they were itching to do this. Like, they were just looking for an excuse to not have Mike Brown be the head coach anymore. And that's why it doesn't sit right with me. Like, I agree with you, but I'm still bothered by it.
That's a great
I would ask both of you guys, why is that? Now you got to ask why. Because we touched on this a little bit. Why would they be hesitant about Mike Brown? We talked about this a little bit before we left. A guy, he had won he got you to the playoffs. He had a second year. It was, play in and all this other stuff. But I don't think on the surface he had done anything to make anybody say, I'm hesitant. We asked, why did that take so long? Like, why would it take so long? What's the issue? The only thing that we can come up with is people were talking that are very important on that roster who were not sold on that man. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because on the surface, being around him, like, yeah, Mike Brown is great. But it sounds as though, to be honest with you, with how long it took over the summer, there was probably some complaints during the season last year about Mike Brown.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that makes sense.
I think you're probably right. Then you shouldn't have re-signed him.
No.
So
if that was the case, then you should have moved on a long time ago.
But in that point, Kyle, like, what are you going to do? What do you do in that regard? So I don't know what the answer is, but to Casey's point, it does feel like there was something there where it's like, this shouldn't be a thing. Like it really shouldn't. In the amount now, Mike was asking for, once we learned, and it took us a while to learn, once we learned what Mike was making, he was asking for a substantial raise, but he had proved that, like, okay, he's worth that. He's worth being paid what like other coaches in the league are being paid, not what the Sacramento Kings coach is being paid in the league. And it did feel like, man, this doesn't feel like a Vivek Ranadive not wanting to spend thing. This feels like they have their eye elsewhere. And I don't know where it was. I don't know if that might not even be reality, but it did feel like they like Mike, but they'd really like to see other people too. Like they're on one of the apps where they're swiping left and swiping right, and they're just hoping they're compatible with somebody. And I think I feel like Mike was a guy that they liked, and we'll go on a date with Mike. I don't want to marry his ass, but I want to go on a date with him. And they're at the point where it's like, it's cool. We just get this shit annulled. Like, that's all it is. I mean, I'm going to pay you out for a couple of years, but this is even in a divorce. This is so quick. This is just an annulment.
Right.
Do you guys like Mike Brown? Sure.
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 Exactly.
And look, to answer your question, what do is you sign him and you cross your fingers. That's what you do. Because think about how all the things we were saying over the summer. If they would have let Mike Brown walk, how would that have looked? Like it would have looked crazy.
It would have looked as fucking stupid as it does right now.
Yeah. Maybe even dumber, because at that point he hadn't lost 12 of 15 home games or whatever the case may be. So you cross your fingers and you hope whatever friction is going on in that locker room gets worked out by winning. They didn't win. It didn't get worked out. And now we're here.
Did he lose the locker room?
It feels like it.
Yeah.
It feels like it.
I don't like, that's one of those things I hate saying that because it's like a really charged thing to say.
Yeah.
And you don't know because you're not there. Like you're not, but at the same time, when you watch a team, like you just kind of get that vibe. And that's the vibe I got last night. Like the urgency just has, it's honestly, it's a vibe I got after, was it the Lakers twice?
And
then who was it?
Indiana.
The Pacers. Yeah, the Pacers game, I got that vibe too.
That
was when I was like, oh, they quit. They're just done. They're just done playing for this coach.
Right.
Wow. And maybe this is a little bit of a cop-out. I don't know if he lost the locker room, but he didn't inspire it. I can promise you
That's
that.
a great point.
That they didn't say no. I mean, for all intents and purposes, as we pass the blame pie around, they got this guy fired. They got him fired. I believe Mike Brown when he said last night we told them to foul if somebody was in a not in a shooting motion, and they didn't do it. They're sitting up there down 3 playing help defense for it. They got this man fired, and at some point, I would think if you really Like if you were really like, yo, no, we love Mike Brown. We need him here. We don't want to get him fired. You would listen to him. You would play with a little different level of focus on a consistent basis. If we were saying the other day that if they lose to Detroit, that this guy's gone, I'm sure they felt the same thing. So you had this man's job on the line and you couldn't snap into things for 4 minutes to close the game out. So like I said, I don't know. None of us know if he lost the locker room, but I think it's safe to say he didn't inspire anybody in that locker room.
Kyle, cheers. You have any closing statements before you go back to because fucking the Kings hate Jesus?
Yeah, man. I just I hope that this goes okay for Doug Christie because I like him personally. I am deeply concerned though about the future of the Sacramento Kings.
Understood. Appreciate you, bro.
All right. See you guys. Appreciate y'all.
My dog. The next order of business.
By the way, he's at like a hotel somewhere and jumped in to join us. So
yeah, big ups to him, man. I was just gonna say the next order of business is figure out how you want to go about this Fox situation. And what I mean by that is I'm operating as if he's gonna be gone. You know what I mean? And when I say that, I'm just gonna say like there's a whole nother discussion to come to the table as if you want De'Aaron Fox here. I'm not even going to ask that question right now. I'm going to assume that he's going to ask out because this isn't getting turned around, right? So the next order of business, if you're Vivek Ranadive, is how do you want to proceed with that? Do you want to proceed with that decision with Monty McNair, or do you want to bring somebody else in here? And I'm going to ask you, what would you do?
I want Manny out. I mean, I said this the second we hit live, and you know, there's bordering on 4,000 people in here. There were 10 people in here earlier. You sat on your hands for so long with this. Like, if you want to blame Mike, there's not one person who is, who you look at like main culprits, main characters that is absolved of this. Mike Brown, yep, there's an argument for Mike Brown to be fired. De'Aaron Fox, yep, there's an argument for De'Aaron Fox to be traded. Monty McNair, Wes Wilcox, the front office, yep, there's an argument for them to be blown out too. Here's the luxury, though, if you're Monty McNair. You, unlike Mike, have an opportunity to fix this. You, unlike Mike, you've got time. You've got a month and 14 days or so to execute something that could somehow salvage this Kings season. I don't know what happens tomorrow night in Los Angeles with Doug Christie as the head coach. If the issue with this team all year has been not hitting shots, they're going to hit shots tomorrow. If the issue all year has been attention to detail, and all of a sudden they're paying attention to detail, the problem was Mike Brown. But unlike Mike, you know, with whether De'Aaron wants to be here or doesn't or whatever, Rich Paul and Clutch Sports wants, whatever that, Monty has time to fix this. He can salvage his job. He can save his job. Mike Brown can't. So whether I think he should be fired or not doesn't really matter, because who are you going to – you said this man, it's crazy that we've been doing this for weeks. Man, this whole fucking thing fell apart quick. Man, said this weeks ago. If Monty's fired, it's like, it's not Monty and West that are fired. It's probably West that is promoted and taking over what I guess is the title is assistant general manager. He's taking over as the general manager now. And it's like, all right, I don't know if that helps. I don't know if that hurts. I don't know exactly what that does. I have questions who's to running the team now. I have questions as to who made the call today. Obviously, Vivek made the final call, but who presented it? Was it Wes or was it Monty? And I don't know what the answer to that is, but whether it's Monty or Wes, or it's Monty and Wes, those two or Monty individually, they have the opportunity to save their job, because I'm in agreement with you. I don't think they're going to be fired during the season. Firing a general manager during the season is tough, but that general manager has to be in step with what Vivek Ranadive wants and with what De'Aaron Fox wants. If Vivek wants De'Aaron a Sacramento King, then the front office has to navigate that. If Vivek has given the green light to move on from De'Aaron Fox, not saying you have to trade him, but it's like, hey, do what's best for my franchise, then the front office also has to navigate that. And so it's the Kings, and I know everyone is thinking the worst, but I'll go back to the line I said at the beginning of this podcast. Mike Brown and De'Aaron Fox, for that matter, neither one of them drafted a player who can't fucking play. When you're talking about depth issues, when you're talking about roster deficiencies, neither one of those individuals are responsible for drafting a player who can't play. Boy, does Sean's tweet seem interesting now, because Sean tweeted, I think it was yesterday, that, or maybe it was today, I can't remember, but Devin Carter,
yesterday.
Yeah, oh man, G League assignment on the way. That's real fucking convenient that he's available for a G League assignment. All of a sudden, he might be available to play for the Sacramento Kings right as we're firing our head coach.
Yeah, I mean,
Manny, Wes, or whoever, that's on the front office.
100%, man. And so yeah, you said plainly you want Manny gone because I would assume here, you don't trust him to navigate what is needed to be done in a De'Aaron Fox trade.
I don't know that you can bring a general manager in, though. That's my problem. Like, the biggest trade that he's made to date, I feel like, was a win. And trading De'Aaron will make the Tyrese trade look a lot different. Like, don't get that twisted. The Kevin O'Connells and all those little bitches who hated the Sacramento Kings for this trade, they're going to have a field day come Monday. Believe that. But the trade was a success. Like, it worked, because I don't think Domantas Sabonis is the problem.
Right.
So can you execute a big trade? Like, maybe you can. You've just fallen so short at trade deadline, trade deadline, off season, trade deadline, off season. Now you're in another trade deadline and you can't miss. It's just, it's that simple. If it's Vivek and that group pulling Manny and Wes into a front office, it's as simple as this. What happens over the course of the next 40 some odd days is going to determine your job. It's going to determine whether you continue to work for the Sacramento Kings and you're a general manager in this league. Because I'm not the only one who has watched you sit on your hands, trade deadline, off season, trade deadline, off season. We can chop this up to, it's Vivek, it's the Kings. No, it's someone who didn't execute when the team needed them to execute. Everybody talked about the deficiencies. Everybody who loved DeMar DeRozan was like, I love DeMar DeRozan, but I feel this team has other flaws. You didn't address any of those flaws. You addressed a playmaking issue in a major way with DeMar DeRozan. Great. Everyone who saw this Sacramento Kings team fall apart when Malik Monk was out, perfect. You did nothing to address, even on a smaller scale, the other issues that this franchise had. And the one time you did, you just fucking traded him away. Again, this isn't it. Well, Jaden wasn't a player we were talking about playing 40 minutes a game. It was like, no, you have a little help here on the wing. Nah, it's cool. We don't need that. Really?
Yeah.
Because literally everybody else says otherwise. So you've got an opportunity to fix it, but your margin for error is razor slim.
And once again, I'm operating under the premise that Fox is going to ask out. He hasn't said that or whatever, but tea leaves. I'm reading the tea leaves. He hasn't, and he's shown a level of loyalty to the city or whatever. But now it's contract time. Now he's like the ultimate free agent. When you talk about the span of his career, it's not an extension or nothing like that. It is, I have the ability to do whatever I want in this situation. And he hasn't not once said or even alluded to the fact of, no, I'm going to stick this out. Regardless of what's going on, I want to be here and see this through. He hasn't said that. He said he wants that an opportunity to win. And if it looks like that the Kings are just far away from that, he's not going to stay. He's going to ask out. And he's going to ask out this summer so he can get the maximum his contract will allow him by signing an extension with whatever team is going to be there. Yeah. So I'm going off of that premise of him asking out. And now I'm looking at what can we do with that Fox contract. And when I bring that up, I think everybody's on the table. Everybody's on the table. The only one without is probably Domantas Sabonis, because I think he's fine. I don't think he's an issue at all. He just signed a contract extension, so that alone will probably make him hard to move. But everybody's on the table at this point. And I want Monk to stay too. I love Monk. That's just a personal thing for me. But maybe, you can move him. But Keegan, DeMar, Fox, all these guys are on the table to completely reshape this roster. And we'll see if Monty is the guy to do that, man. We'll see if he's the guy to do that. And when you talk about Mike Brown leaving, once again, I feel bad for Mike Brown because I think he's a good coach. He's obviously good people, but they might have tuned him out. They might, and maybe you have a guy.
Baffles me, bro.
It does. It does. Like you said plenty of times, who are you to tune anybody out? You haven't done anything in this league. You haven't done anything in this league, but losing the first round one time. That doesn't allow you the cachet to tune out a guy who has seen everything that you need to see in this league. But if they did, maybe a guy like Doug, who we all know and respect, maybe they have the same feelings about him. I mean, at the same time, like, you've known him more and closer to, I've never come across anybody who doesn't respect Doug Christie. He is who said a crossword about him. So there's a respect level there that I think all those guys will have. And can they, at this point, I'm asking the question, can they improve 5 games or so to get into the play-in, like top 6 and playoffs and all that? Like, I'm not even dreaming about that right now. Can you
a 5-game losing streak? That's the only question I have right now. Can 5 not become 6?
Oh man, we're here again.
Yo, you gonna get your ass whooped by the Los Angeles Lakers again?
And then look, on Monday, Luka coming to town. You know he like beating the Kings' ass. You know he like smacking them around.
Who's coming to town?
Actually, he's not gonna play.
You said Luka?
Probably.
Yeah, no, Luka's out a month. Yeah, Luka.
Oh, I didn't even see they gave the official diagnosis. Okay.
Yeah, Luka's out. Luka will be reevaluated in a month. He had that calf strain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he just loves talking shit. That's what he loves doing. I guess I don't blame him. Why does everybody man? Everyone who the Kings didn't draft hates the Kings? Do they hate every other franchise that didn't draft them, or just Sacramento?
He ain't said this about Phoenix.
Right. Phoenix drafted DeAndre fucking Ayton, who plays in a different city now.
Oh man, I'm surprised that this happened. Like I said, once again, once we got past noon, I was like, oh, okay, it's cool.
Once Mike started doing interviews after practice, I thought, wow, they didn't do it.
Wow.
Kings hate you. Just get it trending. Kings hate you.
Oh my goodness.
King said, fuck the new year.
They put a emphasis on new year, new me. The Kings are that black woman stepping up them steps on New Year's. Mike Brown is one of the steps. Winning is another one of the steps. Home record is another one of the steps. Just stepping over them. moving on into 2025.
I can't believe how bad this team's home record is. You have a family. You need to dip out. I got fucking nothing to do. My house is empty.
Yeah, man. I'm a Greece wanted to play some basketball, so we're gonna do that. Maybe he can play for the Kings at one point.
Maybe he can hit a jump shot. Hey, teach him not to foul on an attempted 3 at the end of a game. Teach him.
That was so awful. That was awful. I couldn't believe that happened.
You missed this story. Me and Io were out at Tap Wine Lounge last night in Del Paso.
Io. Yeah.
Yep. Looked at the phone. With the new Apple app, it's the best thing about that Apple Sports app is the screen and the time just stays on your phone, like on the screen, so you can just look down. Woo, Kings up 19. Okay, look over. Woo, Kings up 14 in the fourth quarter, and it's like we're sitting here, we're talking to Cynthia, the owner. I'm not sipping wine now. I'm on that Uncle Nearest shit. But yeah, no, we just here, we just talking and look over. Oh. 7-point game. Okay. Conversation continues. Another glass of wine poured. We're having fun. We're talking business. We're talking black-owned business in Sacramento, the whole deal. Look over, and it's tied. And I'm like, okay. Like, all right. And I see that the screen says, what was it, 113, official review. Like, oh, okay. All right, see what happens. And then the next time I look over, it says 113. Yo, what the fuck just happened? Pull out the phone, start clicking it. De'Aaron Fox fouled Jaden Ivey. And I can't tell you, I wanted to be mad. I wanted to. But in reality, I laughed. Because it was like, okay, the Kings lost again. And De'Aaron Fox fouled Jaden Ivey on a 3-point. Because there was a lot of shit talking for the last couple of years about Jaden Ivey. There's some folks out there on King's Twitter who love to repost that draft day video. I didn't post that shit yesterday, but it's all good. It's all good.
The Kings pass. They beat the Kings ass the last 2 games. Tyrese and Jaden Ivey. They ghost the Kings pass. You know what's really bad is I'm watching the game and I'm standing up, and as soon as Fox fouls him, I throw my hands up and I go, like this, right? And I do this and turn away from the TV. I didn't even see he made the shot 2 seconds later. I said, "Oh my gosh, he made the shot!" What? And you'll love this. You'll love this. My mom was over here watching the game, and of course she blamed. She blamed Mike for. She blamed Mike, but she also blamed Kevin Huerter for being in the game. I don't know why Kevin Huerter got astray, but she said, "Yeah, it was the redhead."
That's not what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say somehow she blamed Luke Walton.
She would have known Luke was there last night. She would have blamed Luke for sure. Yeah.
Amazing.
But
all right, bro.
All right, my guy.
I'm going to hang out for a little bit. There's 4,200 people here who I'm going to try something that we've never tried before and see how it goes. But yeah, teach Reese not to foul on a 3-pointer.
First thing we're working on.
Yeah, there you go. All right, big dog.
All right, big dog. Y'all take care, man.
Yes, sir. All right. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit longer just because there's so many people here, and I'm gonna post a link on Twitter. Legit have never done this before. So if y'all want to talk, this is legit. If y'all want to talk, click on the link and I can bring you right into the stream. I'm going to Snoop tonight. He's at the venue. I got to go work it for KSFM. I say work it like, oh man, it's so hard. No, I don't mean that, but I got to go do some work for KSFM social stuff at the Snoop Dogg concert tonight. But I got time. Aldrin J says it's a therapy session, man. Let's talk. Let's talk. And even if no one clicks on that link, because I know people get a little worried when the lights come out. It's all good. I'll go to the comments here and we'll go to P-Dub. Was this all Mike Brown's pimples fault? Well, very well could have been. That's why he grew that beard. B. Perry says it, man. Let's pod. Scooter says, Manny, heavy breathing coming in 3, 2, 1. I know there's 1,400. I know there's fucking 4,100 people watching. 1300 on YouTube. You might not be familiar with those jokes. Let's see. We got Kirk in here. Kirk,
what's going on, D-Lo?
What's up, baby?
How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
Hey, happy holidays to you, my man.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
just confused, man. I mean, I think we all are. The Monty stuff is just kind of confusing to me. You know, he made all these moves. We are all excited about DeMar, but the bench is horrible. You know, how is that on Mike Brown? You know, you have Alex Lynn starting in the lineup. You threw, you know, yeah, I'm just confused as you are. So thank you. Appreciate it. Happy holidays. Yeah. And I just want to see this franchise go in the right direction, my man.
Nah, we're with you, Kirk. I appreciate you, brother, man. Thank you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all of that good stuff. I don't know why. I mean, this is sports, right? Someone takes the blame. That's how it works. That's how it has to work. Someone takes the blame. Y'all called the Manny heavy breathing in 3, 2, and 1. What's up, man? What you at? Safeway? What are you doing?
Man, you know, I got to get stuff for the family.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that,
bro. The podcast hasn't paid my check yet. I haven't seen.
I got you. Yet. It's on the way. It's on the way. It's on the way.
So we just did a Spaces too. I figured y'all would come on. I just wasn't sure if y'all would get on right away or not. But man, this is like the Bears all over again after Thanksgiving. Like, let them do a press conference, let them talk, and then we're gonna fire him right after that. Like,
yeah,
come on, man. Like, what are we doing as an organization, bro? Like, what are we doing?
Wait, hold on, man. Wait, he's back.
Family told me they didn't want me around, so so I'm back. I'm back.
Manny, I don't know, man. I don't know, Manny. I don't know, man.
Like I told you before, we had a list, right? We did the podcast. I had a list. It was a blame list, right? It was Monty, Mike, and then we had the players. And I've kind of switched that at this point where I want to put Monty 1, but like after last night and stuff, I gotta say what Mike was saying. Like nothing he said. Well, first of all, everything he said, he was like he knew he was out the door. He was going to take everybody down before they took him down. But you know, for 3 quarters, they played they did what they were supposed to do, for the most part. Like they were, whether you want to question keep putting Kobe Jones in or the rotation or whatever the case may be, then that, you know, that's fine. But for 3 quarters, they were a winning basketball team. And then the attention to detail, the little things, not closing out, the little, even to get to the Fox thing, like they should have never been in that position where that was even an issue.
Yeah.
For them. So like I said, like I don't know if they fully tuned them out, because obviously for 3 quarters they were playing winning basketball, but I think there are parts of it that they tuned them out, right? But we're not even at the All-Star break yet, y'all. And y'all fired a coach.
Bro, we just passed fucking Christmas.
Like, no, we're not even in 2025 yet.
Yeah, that's
you
crazy.
Firing a coach. Like, what are we doing? Like, do we really think like, okay, you put Christie and all of a sudden, poof, everything changes? Like, but going back to Monty again, like you forced this hand. You didn't address, like, I don't ever think DeMar was a bad signing. It was that's the only thing you thought you needed to do. That's what it was. DeMar would fit great. It does fit great on this team as long as all the sum parts equal the whole, and it doesn't. You still had all these holes that make it more difficult to be able to let DeMar be DeMar. Like if you addressed everything else, the size, the 3 spot, everything, and not draft a freaking guard every goddamn draft, then maybe all this kind of gels together. But no, you went and got one player, got fat happy, patted yourself on the back as management, like you did the greatest thing on earth, and didn't address nothing else. Well, here we are.
Real quick about that. I thought about something yesterday. When was the last time we saw DeMar DeRozan get the ball at the elbow and go to work like we did the first 3 weeks of the season? Every time down court, he's now doing Harrison Barnes. He's standing in the corner waiting for his opportunity. And once again, I'm not saying Mike Brown should have been fired, but where did that go? Like, when's the last time he got the ball in the scoring position and said, hey, go to work? I don't know whose idea was to say, hey, let's turn him into Harrison or whatever, but that's on the coaching a little bit too. I hear everything you're saying, Manny, and everybody says about the roster. I mean, 5 games under 500. I got to stop looking at Monty a little bit and looking at those guys in the locker room because that's ridiculous. That's terrible.
Because you know what I see, Casey, is no matter how many flaws this team has, right, that we can point out or the coaching, at the end of the day, if you look at this team as currently constructed, there is no way in freaking hell that this team should be 6 games under 500. At minimum, you're a 500 team, if not better. You should be better, but I'll even give you that. If for you not to be able to play up to your potential as is, yeah, that's on you guys. That's on you guys. There's the pride factor. Like, at what point does the pride come in and you say, I refuse to let another game get away? Like, we gonna win this. I don't know where we are as a team. Like, you're obviously not a championship team, but this is definitely not what you are. And the part I hated the most, I said this earlier, is I hate the fact more than anything that remember in the beginning of the preseason where all these fucking experts and the O'Connells, and they said all these things, and we were like, you bitches, you motherfuckers.
Oh,
now
look,
we look like the bitches. We look like the bitches. We look like the stupid asses. We look like the fucking goddamn homers that don't know shit.
All right, get your shit off. That's fine. Man,
Right.
go buy your kids some food. All right, we'll see you later. All right.
He's right. He's right. I thought about that last night too. Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell said, oh,
Yeah.
damn. Okay. Damn.
Jake.
Oh, well, don't do that.
Yeah.
Guys, this is bad. This is so bad.
We talked about
the
it.
worst thing that I've ever been a part of in professional sports. How do you
Jeez.
walk your head coach out there, have a full-on practice where he still talks to De'Aaron Fox, talks to DeMar DeRozan, has one-on-one conversations, or I literally see video of him talking to De'Aaron saying, hey, we've got to be better than what you were at the press conference last night. 10 minutes later, you trot him out there to talk with the media for 15 freaking minutes, okay? Talking about accountability, how this team can be better, how he still has belief. And then less than 10 minutes later, you fire this dude. Like, this is a travesty. This is terrible. This is the worst unprofessional thing I've ever seen in sports. I am livid, fired up. Like, what are you doing if you're the Sacramento Kings? What are you doing?
Yeah, that's some Chicago Bears shit right there. Like that's what they did. Eberflus. They actually marched Eberflus out there twice. Well, I guess that's what the Kings did, right? Because Mike did the post-game press conference last night, then did the practice today. The Sacramento Kings are on par with the Chicago Bears. So let that sink. Let that sink in.
Ooh.
Do you blow it up now, guys? Do you blow it up? Because that's the only thing I can think of.
Obviously that's what everybody's thinking. I don't know how you fix this. Like, I don't know how you fix it. My gut tells me is you trade De'Aaron, and that's like your start. But if you're Vivek and your plan is to fire the front office, I don't know how you trust them to execute a trade with the most important player that you have. So I don't know. Like Rich is going to be heavily involved in this. Clutch is going to be heavily involved in this. Like, you've got. We know for a fact that San Antonio was out there. I think we know, and I don't think it really works. I just think this is how the NBA works, that the Lakers are out there. There's little rumblings about Miami. And then, of course, Houston. And so, and actually, I haven't heard Houston involved in anything except from us because it makes sense. He's from Houston. They have. Go ahead.
I don't know if anybody, it could just be more speculation, but this morning, Tim McMahon mentioned Houston for the first time. Okay. So he said those teams, and then he added Houston today as well. So
I mean, and Houston makes perfect sense. Like, Houston has the assets to make the deal work, and he lands in a great spot.
But Jake, here's the thing with Houston, and
waiting room, just hang tight, and we'll bring you in here. Except for James, we're going to bring James in right now.
Wow. James Ham, what's going on with you? The thing with Houston though, and Houston's at the top of my list. I was thinking about this all last night about places that I want to do business with to send De'Aaron Fox. The thing with Houston is, and I believe them when they say this, they're not doing anything this season. If you want to do business with Houston, we'll talk in the summer. And I believe them. They have no reason to do anything. And number 2 in the West, like what would be the point of trading for somebody right now? Fully evaluate this roster and make your decisions in the summer. I believe them. And if they're like me or they want to wait around for Houston, they're going to have to wait for the summer to do anything with De'Aaron Fox.
I want James's perspective on this because I'm still blown away. We saw each other when we were leaving the facility this afternoon, but like the way this all went down, like I said, was we had full practice. We got let in. We saw Mike have a long conversation with De'Aaron, a conversation with DeMar, and a couple other the forwards. I want to say Trey Lyles was part of that conversation. They bring out DeMar, they bring out Keegan, they bring out Mike. They all talk Mike for specifically 15 minutes about accountability and everything like that. But my question is like, what changed in that 15 minutes? Like, did De'Aaron go up and say, Manny, I can't do this. It's either him or me, or like, why then? Like, I'm like blown away that they would do all this and then fire him 5 minutes, 10 minutes later before they hop on a plane to LA. And the only thing I can wrap my head around is two things. Either one, De'Aaron, like I said, marched up there and said it's either him or me, or 2, that they knew this was going to happen and this was just a complete PR blunder by them, and they have no idea the repercussions that's going to happen. James, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I think in hindsight, watching Mike work the room and go around, it now feels like maybe Mike knew more than he let on. And we haven't really seen him go around the room and have conversations like that. But I do know, like when we first got there, it was like coaches meeting in the middle. The moment with De'Aaron Fox and Mike Brown was very interesting. Especially like you can read lips and kind of see what Mike was saying to De'Aaron the entire time. Like I think it's probably like partially a PR blunder here, partially that things happen really fast in the NBA. And so I don't know if we'll ever get the full story about whether De'Aaron like literally walked in and said, it's either him or me. But at the same time, like he's always been in Mike's corner. This has been one of the reasons why Mike is around, is because De'Aaron Fox, was excited to have him as his head coach, was excited about, how things went in season 1, not like super excited about season 2, but I just think it was stunning. I mean, like there could have been a lot of different pathways here. All they had to do is come out and say, hey, look, Mike's not going to be available today. We got to go get on a team plane and we'll talk to you guys in a few. We'll have more for you later, something like that. But to have him do the full practice, the full, like all of it, it does feel like very much like somebody behind the scenes said, okay, call him in, let's do this. And it happened quickly. So I'm stunned, but not really. I mean, this is Doug Christie will now be the 10th head coach that I've covered in my 15th year covering this team. And I to be honest with you, Doug, I consider a friend. This thing is a freight train moving the wrong way, and I hate to see him try to step in front of it and slow it down. This is some, next level Spider-Man, trying to stop the L, and holding on for dear life, hoping that his arms don't get ripped off. But this thing is a mess right now, and they've got to figure out how to put it back on the right path.
Hey, Jake, why don't you go to work, man? Some people obviously need your help, and you're just shooing them away.
No, I don't do live at 4 o'clock right now. What do we do? Like this isn't Mike's fault. Mike got sent, like the way I'm going to describe it on television today. It's just like you sit there and you say, hey, like, let's make an apple pie, right? And I'm going to give you all the ingredients, including I'm going to give you the crust. I'll give you the apple. I'll give you the crust. I'll give you the pan to make it in. I'll give you the oven to bake it in, but I'm not going to give you the apples. Like there's some serious deficiencies within this roster, and Mike was the scapegoat. And I just don't understand why.
Jake, I'll continue to say it. I'm not going to change my tune. There are deficiencies on the roster. 5 games under 500, 6-12 at home is unacceptable. Me and you can go out there with the rest of those guys, and they still should be better than what they're doing right now. And to lose all 5 games in this 5-game homestand, that's unacceptable. And I'm not saying it's Mike Brown's fault, but he played a part in it. You know, there's things that Mike Brown did, the yo-yoing of the minutes, the rotations, all this other stuff. Just completely getting rid of DeMar DeRozan in the offense for whatever reason in the last two weeks or so. He's got to wear that. And at the end of the day, you go 0-5 on a 5-game homestand, somebody's got to pay. Somebody's got to pay. And I'm not saying it's Mike's fault. I'm not even saying he should be the one. But we said it before we left. They lose to Detroit. We come back here on January 2nd. This thing cannot look the same. Simple as that. And ain't nobody going to go get Cam Johnson in 48 hours to change that. Like, somebody had to go. And unfortunately for Mike, it was him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way this always works. Like, somebody has to pay for whatever is happening here. And, like, talk about just getting your face ground into it. I mean, having it be Tyrese Halliburton and having it be Jaden Ivey that put the nail in the coffin. And, like, look, Mike had nothing to do with those. That's straight up on the guys that just made this decision as well. That's kind of a tough pill.
Big thanks to the 1,300 people watching on YouTube and the 4,600 people watching across multiple different platforms right here. Let's go to, well, this is Kang Suck. Kang Suck. Go ahead, man. What's on your mind? It's great. Your mic is muted, Kang. Try that again. Yep. All right. Goodbye. All right. Let's go to our man Bryce. Bryce knows how to do this. Bryce, what's going on,
Hey guys, what's going on? This is interrupting Star Wars for this. This is sad, man. It's a sad day.
Let's go.
Bryce is always at Disneyland, so this isn't anything new.
This is true. We live here. My house is right there. I live in that corner. It just feels like a sad moment in Kings history when it'll all be said and done. Because all the things that they say that we don't do anymore, we're doing all of them. We're hiring coaches and firing them still like we always did. We're getting players that seem to not fit the system or whatever you want to say. We're calling people out on social media. We're just doing all the things we shouldn't do. Winning teams don't fire coaches a quarter of the, a third of the season through, a day after Christmas with, things are falling apart. So the first thing you do is like, hey, get out of here. Like, don't even fix it. Just get out. Just whatever. It's cool. Like, it's just weird. It's just like Jake said earlier, it is unprofessional. That is so lame. It's just lame ass shit. Like, it's lame. That's really all it comes down to. Like, make you guys do this stuff. Like, this is so beneath us. This is beneath us.
Kings hate Jesus.
They do, and they hate Disneyland. They hate the Jedi Order. They hate everything.
The Millennium Falcon behind you. I mean, they hate it all.
They hate it.
Yeah. It's just uncool, man. It's just so lame.
Go enjoy go enjoy the Star Wars ride. I've been on that one, man. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Get David a souvenir. He needs someone, okay?
Give me a souvenir.
Yeah, I got you, D-Lo. I got all you guys. If you guys want, I got all you guys.
Appreciate you, Bryce.
I got you guys, bro.
Shout out Bryce. Another thing that I don't like about, your Disneylands, your Universal Studios and all this other stuff is I don't want to wait 115 minutes to get on a 7-minute ride. It's 7 minutes. That'd be lucky to get on a 90-second ride.
There's a great sex joke in there somewhere. I just can't quite pinpoint it, but it's right there.
And then if you want to go to the Fast Pass, here, pay $150 on top of the $700 already paid to get into this place. Let alone I haven't eaten yet.
Well,
I was waiting for them to come and get Bryce for dropping some language there in the happiest place on earth.
I can't speak for anybody else, but my Disneyland experience was fantastic.
You and Katie.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Always Insider's hoodie on and everything. Lee, what's happening, baby?
Representing. Hey, guys. Yo, I don't even know where to begin with this. This seems like a lack of accountability on the players. Like, how many years are we going to keep investing in De'Aaron Fox where things just keep going bad like this? The team didn't make the playoffs last year. He didn't want to talk to the media then. The Kings have done everything for him. They got Monk. We got rid of Tyrese, got Sabonis. They've made so many moves for them, and now we're getting rid of Mike. I think Mike is a good coach. Maybe the guys did quit on him, but I just don't see Doug Christie coming in and turning things around. And we all like Doug Christie. But this season just kind of feels like the there's no hope. I don't see them turning around. Cam Johnson's not walking through that door, and you could probably blame Monty. You definitely can blame Monty the way this roster is constructed. But I just kind of frustrated like everyone else. I don't know what direction the Kings are going to go. Like, how many years we're going to keep trying to build around Fox?
I think the end of that is coming soon.
James, do you have any thoughts? I know you do. What are your thoughts on De'Aaron Fox's future with Sacramento?
Yeah, I mean, this is a rocky situation. And like I've told you guys, like the sequence of events that I believe will play out, and none of them lead to good things. So the hope is that that somehow you right the ship here, and De'Aaron Fox likes what's happening and says, "I'll stick around." But you know, again, I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing. You know, to be honest with you, yeah. And I mean, yeah, go for
Can
it.
I jump
Lizzie.
in here? I think it's a bad thing. Like, I know, like, I've called into the show multiple times to both of you guys, Ham, D'Lo, all you guys, and you guys always say, hey, this isn't Fox's personality. He's not that rah-rah type of guy, blah, blah. He doesn't have to be. But at a certain point, if you're the leader of the team, the way you carry yourself, your attitude, your thoughts about winning and how serious you are, it affects everybody. He seems very nonchalant. And I think I could be wrong, but it just seems like all the years of losing has just kind of affected his mentality and the way he goes about things, and why he probably just doesn't care. That's just how it kind of feels.
I don't think it's that he doesn't care. Like I know De'Aaron well enough. He cares deeply, but I also think there's a here we go again mentality that has been sort of, it's part of his DNA because of the years he's been with this franchise. And we talked about it last week, me and Kyle did, about how, like, look at what Karl Anthony Towns is doing in New York. Like, you sometimes playing in one place forever is great and it all works out, but it doesn't usually work out where a player starts from like 5 or 6 years of atrocious losing and then all of a sudden figures it out and they're winners now. It usually takes a different stop. And to me, I think we're getting closer and closer to that. And like, the only team I'm calling is Houston, to be honest with you, because I think Houston is saying that they don't want to mess with their roster right now. They don't want to mess with their roster until they mess with their roster. And I get it. I believe them that they're winning and all that stuff, but star level players only become available every once in a while. And if the Kings do in fact want to trade him or get to a point where he says, hey, get me out of here, that's the team with the talent that you need, because it's young talent, but it's young talent with experience that would fit right into your starting lineup. And maybe you can find something different with Malik Monk at point guard, and with Domantas Sabonis still on the team, and Keegan Murray moving back to his natural position, and like trying to reboot as opposed to restart. And that's what I would hope, because at this point, like, you drove ticket prices up so much, you cannot afford, if you're Vivek, to go back to a 25-win team, and that sure does look like where they're heading.
And real quick,
one more time,
real quick, Lizzie.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I'll just really fast.
Yeah,
so,
you're good,
yeah,
you're
I agree with you. The Rockets deal could be good, but I'm just curious, why don't you like the Spurs deal if you could get maybe a guy like Stephon Castle, maybe? Just follow it up. My bad.
Yeah, I just don't like their talent. Like, I don't think their talent's good enough. I don't like, look, if you're the Kings, Manny he comes from the Daryl Morey tree where they star hunt. And if you're out looking for a star, you're not going to find it on that San Antonio Spurs team outside of Victor Wembanyama. There's no one else on that team that has the potential to be a star. They're all good role players, but I would rather take a flyer on Jalen Green and hope that he develops into a star, or Jabari Smith Jr. and hope that he develops into a star, or, Tari Eason. I just like the talent. I don't think Castle's going to be a star. I don't think Vassell's going to be a star, or Sohan, or Keldon Johnson. They're really good role players, but if you're giving up a super high end, like 5-star player, you can't take back a bunch of 3-star players and hope that you're going to be able to survive in the NBA when you're a small market that can't sign a free agent.
No, I'm with you 100% on that, James. Appreciate you, Lizzie. With you 100% on that. I've done the research, well, in the last 12 hours, done a lot of reading and listening on this whole thing. And from everything that I hear, things could change, sure, whatever. But people kept saying this throughout the day or whatever. The Rockets are not trading Thompson, and they're not trading Jabari Smith. When they're looking at De'Aaron Fox, and they got their eye on Devin Booker. And if they're going to make a move, the players that are involved are Jalen Green, Reed Shepherd, Cam Whitmore, and that's it. Terry Eason's not even involved. Those guys are not on the radar, seen it multiple times, read it, listened to it multiple times. I think that's good enough. I take a chance on Jalen Green. You know what I'm saying? I like Reed Shepherd a lot as well. Cam Whitmore, he's a ball player as well. So I like what they have in that trade package. You know, the second one that I would go for and that I would talk to is Miami. I don't know why people don't really like Tyler Hero, but I like Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero right now, I think, is a top 10 scorer in the league right now, so he can fill it up for you. He's got the ability to score, and then you get a guy like Jaime Jaquez, you get whatever draft picks they have. I like those two potential spots above San Antonio. I like Castle, I like Vassell, but like James said, I don't think any of those guys are box office. I don't think any of those guys are potential stars. So if I'm going to do everything I can, maybe I have to circle back and land on the San Antonio deal. But if I'm going to try and exhaust every opportunity with Houston and Miami before I go to San Antonio.
Guys, I got one quick thing from Jordy Fernandez, former Kings assistant coach who's with the Nets. He just said this on his pregame availability. He's very good at what he does on Mike Brown's firing. He's very good at what he does. In my opinion, one of the best. I wouldn't be here without him. It's sad news. I don't like it. It's part of the business. A year and a half ago, he's coach of the year, and now this situation happens. That's where we're at right now. It ain't good. I got a dip. I got a show in 30 minutes. Tune on CBS 13. We're going to be covering this all day. Love all three of you. See you guys on Sports Sunday on Sunday.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you. Let's bring in our man Tim here real quick. Tim, what's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. You hear me okay?
We got you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
God, I don't even know what I'm trying to say or what I want to do. It's rough because, well, first off, Damian, check your IG messages. I sent you something. But as far as what's going on now, I don't even know that I want to talk about trying to fix things and stuff because I've been watching the Kings since I had to, man.
It's a classic. That's a classic.
It's true. It's true.
It's very true.
But I've been watching the team since '85. I actually got to go to a game the first year they were here. And, I saw all the ups and downs and, Purvis Ellison and Bobby Hurley and all the other stuff that, over the years. And, and I have a lot of strong, memories and emotions attached to the team because of, the experiences that my dad and I had, going to the games and, he's not here anymore. And at this point, I almost want to ask a question because I'm sure there's other people out there that think the same thing as me is, why do I keep watching?
Yeah, I think, Tim, a lot of people are asking, why do we keep going?
Yeah. Why do we keep giving our money to this? Because if they keep making money and people keep showing up on the hope that they'll turn it around like we've been doing for 4 decades,
yeah,
what motivation is it for them to actually do something serious to fix things when they know, hey, it's the only show in town, we'll keep getting our money?
It's a good question. And I will say this, like
thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
The price just kept going up and up and up and up and up and up. And so now there are a lot of people who spent their hard-earned money, especially their hard-earned Christmas money, to take, families out to watch basketball during the holidays here. And I think that they've just been treated to an abysmal performance by this team. And whether, you want to place blame on Mike or you want to heap all kinds of, like frustrations on De'Aaron Fox, whatever it might be. All I know is the last thing the Kings needed, like heading into a long homestand where they had an opportunity to get right and to like get back into the race, was for their star player to go out and do a bunch of podcasts and make it very well known that like the saying is, it's not going well. And then for him to not play well. that didn't help at all. So yeah, really brutal, especially with all of the money that people spent to get tickets. Those Pistons tickets, which Pistons usually aren't a draw at all, they were sold out like super early. Like people couldn't wait to get those tickets. And I think you got treated to like a good game. But if you're a Kings fan, you're left in heartache, and especially coming off the heels of the other games.
Yeah.
Casey, let's get to Christie here. Christie, what's happening? Christie? This is going so poorly for people who have the camera off. Christie! Christie said, "Fuck all y'all." All right. So if you're in the green room, unmute your phone and we'll add you to the broadcast. Just, kind of pay attention to the broadcast. And I'm watching. No one has unmuted their phone, so it's fine. We'll just talk. We'll just talk amongst us. James, the question Kenny, brought up, and we've kind of brought this up in a roundabout way with De'Aaron Fox. Who's next? Mike, I don't think is a one-off. And, the question has kind of been posed if you think that Manny is out or you think that Manny and Wes are out, do you trust them to execute a potential trade with De'Aaron Fox? Or do they trust Manny and Wes and De'Aaron's the first one out? I mean, I think Kings fans are really spiraling. I mean, no one expected this. Even if you were one of the detractors who thought, I don't know about the DeMar DeRozan signing, the West is tough. They might not really work out. I don't think anyone expected this. So what now?
That's going to be the hard part because, like, barring a massive turnaround, like, you're not going to let this group hire your next head coach. Like, there's no way. Like, how many times does Vivek have to allow a general manager on a 1-year deal sign a coach to a 4-year deal? That doesn't make any sense. And so if you don't turn things around, I expect more change. I'm going to keep saying it. Like, for me, it's Manny and Wes. There isn't, like, this is a tandem that has made decisions together. And so I don't know, maybe one of them survives and one of them doesn't. But to me, that doesn't make any sense because you can't be the poofy jacket, the poofy vest guys together. And when things go bad, one of you stays and one of you doesn't. But
just a real quick, just a quick pet peeve of mine. Wes got none of the credit when it went good. That's just a pet peeve of mine. When things were going good and Manny was executive of the year, nobody said Manny and Wes are doing a good job. They said Monty McNair is doing a good job. And now that it's bad, regardless, I mean, Wes could have been behind the scenes making moves then too. But when it was going good, it was Monty McNair has done a good job. Monty McNair traded Tyrese Halliburton for Sabonis. You know what I mean? So when it's going bad, not saying that Wes should stay or nothing. I'm just saying, like, it's just a pet peeve of mine. That's all it is. Like,
I get you, but just because his name isn't on the trophy doesn't mean that he's not running half of the things or more behind the scenes. So,
yeah, but we don't talk about that. That's all I'm saying. When it was going good, we didn't say Wes is doing a great job. We didn't mention Wes Wilcox's name at all.
I think that we, like, me personally, I know Wes and Manny, Manny and Wes, Manny and Wes.
Well, why? Like, what other franchise does that? Like,
well, what other franchise? What other franchise brings in two guys for the same job? One of them gets the job, and then they hire the other guy as his number two. What other franchise does that? Like, I
don't know. I see Will Z. I'm gonna bring him in because he's family. I want to bring in NBA guru Zach because I saw him. He was anxious to talk. What's up, Zach?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Good, baby.
A couple points I want to make. It's just it's kind of crazy for all the coaches that Fox has gone through. We got Luke, Dave, Mike. At the beginning, it was for Dave's. They were all saying that he was too hard on the players. Then they got Luke, who was like the opposite, right? He didn't really give accountability to any of the players. And now we got Mike Brown, who I feel like he's kind of like in the middle-ish, and now he's gone. So I don't know. I don't know if like Fox is part of the problem as well. But I just want to say that I think Fox is gone now as well, just because like you can't just get Doug Christie for the rest of the season. We're 5 games under 500, and he wants to win. He wants to win, and then you tell him, "Hey, we just got Doug Christie. We fired the head coach, and we're going to try to win and try to salvage the season." I just don't think it's going to happen. I think he's on the way out as well. I think if you're going in the room and saying, "Hey, let's fire Mike Brown," I think you're going in the room and saying, "We're going to trade Fox as well." And just try to hit the reset button. I think that's the way like Fox and the organization is kind of thinking about this.
I'm going to say this.
Well,
yeah, I'll be real quick.
I was just going to say, just real quick. Steven's right. I mean, this is amazing that my man has gone from NBA on TNT set. It's fantastic.
Well, he's NBA's guru. Yeah. Hey, look, for me, being around this franchise as long as I have, that when they make a move like this, it's to hopefully avoid another move. It's they chose the lesser of two evils in their mind. And so like I don't know that there was a rift between Mike and De'Aaron. In fact, I've always heard the opposite of that. De'Aaron has always said he likes to be coached hard, that his dad was his AAU coach, and another guy that was his AAU coach were very hard on him, and that's how he's grown up in coaching with coaches that yell and scream, and he's okay with that. That's what he wants. I think the Kings are hoping that this is the move that changes everything, and they get right back on the right path, and De'Aaron Fox will stay. I just don't know that like the rose-colored glasses or purple lens glasses are gonna really like help you here.
Yeah, I just feel like it's weird because like it doesn't make sense that we fire Fox, that's going to be the move, and we're going to try to make me fix some pieces to help out Fox. It just doesn't make sense because it's clear we're 5 games under 500. We just lost 5 in a row at home. Like there's not one move that's just going to help this team on the roster. Like we got to give assets to get assets back, right? And we don't have that valuable of assets right now. Like what does the organization think that we're going to just all of a sudden just get some, player, improve the roster so heavily that we're going to change the season around?
Yeah, Zach, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for tapping in and clicking the link and all of that good stuff. JB, I see you. Christy, we see you. Hey, we see you. Everybody, like, hang on a second. I want to hear from our man. We'll be here for a few minutes. So sorry, Casey.
And Will, you can take my spot, man. They need me now. They want me now. They want me back around.
I'm supposed to be all. Let's just iron out some business here real quick. Why don't you hang with Matt George on Sunday, and I'll hang with Jake, because it sure sounded like they both expected us to be there. We'll just split duties.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do that. All right, man.
Bro.
Y'all take care, man.
Hey, Kenny.
All right. William, go ahead, man.
What's up? Man, it just, part of me is a little relieved that there's something. And I think it just, for me, resets Hannah's mad at me for saying that. She's very upset in the other room. To me, it resets my expectations. And last night was such a hard game to watch, and not in a hurtful or mad way, but just a deflating way. And now it's like, I don't expect anything for the rest of the season. Playoff goals, contending. Like, to me, it's just, I'm going to get back to watching basketball. If they win, great. If not, great. I'll keep writing about them. And it's, I don't know, maybe we'll get some joy back as fans too. I know Fox has said that they need to find joy playing. I'm just an outsider, but to me, Doug Christie seems like one of the most joyful people on the planet. So maybe he can just instill joy into the team in that way. The close games, we always keep saying it. They're so close, but I don't know if they're close enough. They're falling in the standings, but I don't know. Just, it's, as my cat wants to chime in too.
Cat's sick of this shit too.
Yeah.
James, you got anything to say before you go? I know you've got some national TV business coming up here in a minute.
Yeah, I would say this, like, we on the outside all feel that exactly what Will said. Like, this is the end. It's the end of whatever era this is. And we're expecting like this team not to rebound and recover and start winning. For some reason, that's not ever what the Kings think. They think, oh, this was a bump in the road. We'll get back on the right smooth sailing road in just a second here. You know, like when they fired Luke Walton, they instantly thought that would become like they would start winning and everything would be fine. And it never happened that way. When they fired Michael Malone, they were absolutely shocked that they went 7-21 under Tyrone Corbin, and then it got even worse under George Karl. So I don't believe they think that this is the move that had to be made that will hopefully reboot their season and put them right back in it so they can go get back into the playoff race. And I think everybody on the outside kind of feels the same way, that like that's probably not the case. And we're looking at like a really, really tough couple of months here in Sacramento, and maybe a tough couple of years because of the tough couple of months that we're going to go through. And that's never a good thing.
James is headed off to NBA TV because he's big time. James, appreciate you as always, my man. Thank you, sir.
See you guys.
Will, you want to hang out for a few minutes and we'll talk to a couple of people. Let's talk to our A. I see you. Take it, and I don't mean A. I mean A. Take your phone off of mute, and we'll get you next. Let's talk to JB. JB, what's happening, baby?
Hey, what's up, guys? So obviously the news is rough, and in Monty McNair's statement on letting coach go, he does use the word rebuilding, so that sucks ass. Just trying to figure out what we have to look forward to, because looking at the roster, it doesn't seem like we have a lot of pieces that we can trade at the deadline to, further the tank. I guess we have Tankathon to look forward to. Hello, old friend. Welcome back. It's been a while. It was a good year, but we're, like a bad girlfriend, we're back. I guess, doesn't seem like a DeRozan trade's really possible. Jalen Green signed an extension, so he can't be traded till the offseason. Herder's tanked his trade value. Carter doesn't have any because he hasn't dribbled around a chair yet.
Yeah.
So, obviously we know interim coaches suck ass. We love the people, but.
No, I got you. I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think that's the case with Doug. I think Doug's going to wind up being a fine coach. I just think he's in a really tough spot. Yeah.
But I guess it's too early to start thinking about who the next name could be, right? Whether it's because we don't know what Vivek really wants or who's going to make the call. But is there anything like that we could get going in terms of forwarding the tank, but we got no one that we can trade for future picks or help us better position. I don't know. It's tough. It's just, it's all tough to try and, find that hope, because you guys were going over the recent draft picks too. Even if we get a good pick. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. Appreciate you, JB. Thank you, my brother. Great hat, by the way. That's a fantastic hat.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Appreciate you, my man.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, JB. Real quick, Will, let's get Maddie in here. Maddie, what's going on, brother? Maddie. Okay. Everyone with the camera off. It's tough. That's tough. Will, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like there's a big move, of all the options, big move to retool and try and contend this year. Feels like that's off the table. So that leaves us to probably, do you trade off as many players as you can, or do you make a smaller move? And I don't know.
I stopped, I think about 3 losses ago, I stopped looking at the standings, and I sure as fuck didn't look at them last night. 13 and 18. Oh, man. They're only 3 back from the Golden State Warriors at 10. It's crazy that the Warriors have fallen to 10. But Minnesota's in that bunch. Phoenix is in that bunch. Man, everyone talks about, the West is crazy. No, the West is fucking ass. And it's like, who's competing for a chunk of that ass? That's all it is you've got 3 teams that are 15 and 14 right now. And then you got the Spurs, who are 15 and 15. and then the Kings at 13 and 18. Man, God bless it. That is frustrating.
Slowly creating like their own separate group in the West, where you've got like the top contenders, which is probably, I don't know, OKC, Houston, Memphis, maybe throw in the Mavs. And then the big group of 15 and 14, 17 and 13, like you said, where the Kings aren't quite at that level, even with the Spurs, but they're not as bad as the Blazers, Jazz, or Pelicans. So they're in this weird little limbo spot in the standings. That's why they've been in the 12th spot for what feels like weeks. And it just keeps floating around in that little island where you can't, I don't think, as weird as it is, you're already too late in the tanking battle. Like, you're not going to tank and beat 4 or 5 other teams to be worse in the standings. So what do? I guess try and go out and win. It feels so weird to think about trading Fox.
Yeah, but like it I don't know, man. Like we started this almost 2 hours ago. Like I don't know what to I don't know what leash to throw. I don't know what rope to give. Like, I think De'Aaron Fox is a top, like this if we break this down to the all NBA discussion, De'Aaron Fox has every characteristic to be a top 15 player in the league, except for one, and I don't know how to quantify it other than I don't think he gives a shit. Like, that's what, when you talk about Book, when you talk about KD, Steph, Bron, you know, obviously that's the upper echelon. But when you talk about Ant-Man, when you talk about you know, even is someone on his tier, in my opinion, in Brunson. You could throw Luka in this mix. I never watch any of those players I just mentioned and wonder if they care. I never wonder, like, are they taking it easy? I never wonder, are they coasting? I never wonder, are they just kind of floating through this game? I never wonder that with any of them. I wonder that on a far too regular basis with De'Aaron Fox. And that's my frustration with him is this wasn't a this year issue. It wasn't a last year issue. It wasn't the last 2 years issue. This has been a question with De'Aaron Fox for his entire career. And you go back to the Dave Yeagers, the Luke Waltons, the Alvin Gentry's, and you go, you can find a way, Will, like, I get it. Like, this team sucks. Like, Buddy is fucking running all over the place and jacking up shots. Marvin doesn't want to play, and sometimes he does. Willie Cauley-Stein won't grab a rebound. Like, you can find reasons. You can find ways. You could do all of that stuff. But the last 2 years, two and just over a quarter year, I can't find the excuse. You've got the roster. You've got the coach. You've got the front office. The next year, you've got the coach, you've got the front office. Roster's not perfect, but it's not bad. The roster this year isn't perfect, but it's not bad. Like, that's the thing Casey and I were talking about, or have been talking about a lot over the course of the last, few weeks, is like, the roster's not flawless, but it's not 13 and 18.
No,
this is not a 13 and 18 roster. And I keep bringing myself back to De'Aaron Fox. Give a shit about what you do every day. And I go, like, the press when I saw De'Aaron's press conference before I saw the game. And when I saw, I knew what happened at the end. But when I saw him
to go into that game knowing,
hey, De'Aaron, what happened on that final possession? Doesn't matter. It's not going to make anybody feel better. Nah, bro, like, take accountability for what happened. Like, take accountability for what you did on that play. Marjax pulls this up. What the fuck happened to Keegan Murray? Like, Keegan Murray was supposed to be like, he was the one we were like, hey, little bit. Doesn't need to be a big jump. Just A little bit like expecting the like one thing I'll give De'Aaron a ton of credit for is his year 1 to year 2 to year 3. He took these like massive leaps where it's like, God,
Every
this
year.
kid is so good. Keegan, it was like, don't expect those types of De'Aaron Fox leaps with every single rookie. Like, that's crazy. De'Aaron is exceptional. Keegan, it was like, just take a little step. He did it last year. It's like just a little step and the Kings will be fine. Bro has taken like not only a little step back, it feels like he's taken a massive step back. And I don't know, and this is what we'll find out in the coming weeks, right, Will? Is that on Mike? Is that on Keegan? Is that on the construction of this roster? Like, I don't know what it is, man. There's so many questions. There's so many faults. There's so many frustrations. There's no way to like pinpoint it on one thing.
I think maybe worst isn't the best word. The most concerning thing about Keegan to me is how the possessions completely stall out when he gets the ball at the top of the key. Like there were so many, even last night. Hannah and I were talking about it as we were watching, and it's just he'll get the ball and maybe try a move. It doesn't work. He just backs out. And at that point, there's 6 seconds left on the shot clock, and he can't get anything going on his own. So he'll pass it to Herder or whoever. They have to take a quick shot. And just that we were all so excited about his off the dribble self-shot creation. He showed it a little bit against the Warriors in the postseason. He grew and it looked better in year 2. He had some strong moments early this season. And to me, it looks like it's just gone. I don't know if that's just a confidence thing, if he's not quick enough, or maybe he doesn't have the skill set to do that now. But the player we all envisioned him becoming, this off the dribble, tall wing who can also defend and do everything, I don't know if that's what he's going to be. So maybe it's us. We need to reframe our mind around Keegan. And maybe he just goes back to being more of a spot shooter, and that's okay, especially with defense. But I don't know. It has been a tough year for him. And throw that in the group of little things that have gone wrong. Like, he hasn't had a terrible season, but there were them jumping into that contending group was on him taking that leap.
Yeah, let's point our man G Money says if Keegan is so bad, why does about every team want him? Like, Keegan's not bad. Like, that's the like Keegan is far from a bad basketball player. And we wondered with the acquisition of DeMar DeRozan, would a stalled out Keegan Murray be fine? Like, if Keegan was exactly what he was last year versus taking a step forward, would that be enough? But the issue is Keegan took a step back. And that is just something with the way that the Kings roster is constructed. And maybe to G Money's kind of like underlying point here, it's not about Keegan, it's about the rest of the roster. And there's no one there to pick up for Keegan. When you look at that 2-guard spot and it's Kevin, Keon, Malik, you have all of these guys you can insert and, oh, this will work. Oh, let's try this. Oh, let's try this. Oh, okay, finally, let's make the ultimate change and put Malik Monk into the starting lineup for the first time. With Keegan, you can't do that. There's no, hey, Keegan's having an off night. Let's lean on. There's no one there. There's no one to lean on if Keegan Murray is off. Like, you're stuck because Keegan is a top-tier defender, and there's no one else at that position. It's Keegan or bust, and that is one of the several issues plaguing what has happened so far this year.
Yep. Oh, man. And
Will, this sucks.
It does. It really does. Like, it just is. We had so many high expectations and hopes. Not even just the expectations. Like, expectations are one thing, but the hopes coming into the year were so high.
We didn't even make it to 2025.
No.
Like, we talk about the All-Star break. We talk about all of these different things. We didn't even make it to the new year before.
Hey, we made it past December 15th at least.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We did. We did. I got nothing else, man. We've been 2 hours. This wasn't a show. I am a little lit.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'm not a little lit. I feel great.
Good.
I'm going to see Snoop tonight, so I'm going to take some of the edibles Kyle sent me for Christmas. And I'm going to go see Snoop Dogg tonight. And y'all head over to Deuce and Mo if you are just a glutton for punishment and want to continue to talk about the Sacramento Kings. I know Deuce and Mo are live right now, but man, I wished I believed that there was a way this could turn around, Will. I still believe in the roster, as ridiculous as that sounds. Like I do. Yeah. I still very much believe. Shit, if you go back to the beginning of this podcast, I still believe in De'Aaron Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't know. Like, I can't. I'm not gonna. I've been around the WNBA a lot. And I don't want to pretend like I've been around a lot of. I mean, I've been around enough NBA players. Been around DC a lot. Doug Christie. I can't imagine a player as good as him just coasting. Like, I absolutely can't envision that. He is so fucking good.
Yeah.
And it feels like he just coasts. And I've never seen a player at that level coast like that. And I think that's another one of those things that is just absolutely infuriating.
Yeah. Craziest thing is, I think even if they were to trade Fox, they could still theoretically compete. It wouldn't even be a full teardown because you have so much other talent on this team.
I mean, agree completely. You put Malik in a different position.
Yep.
Put DeMar in a different position. And I mean, I don't know. You keep Domas in the same exact position that he's in. And I think when you talk about leaders, you know, I get that he's my man and I will rep for him forever. But DC is a leader. There is most people, you know the story. I know there's a lot of people watching who may not be super familiar with our show, but like DC is the only person who can get me to extend an olive branch to Grant Napier. No one could have done that except Doug Christie. Doug Christie is a leader, and I trust him in that regard. And if you stuck around this long, boy, we got a little treat for you, live from the West, live from the East Coast. What's up, buddy?
What's up? I thought you guys got off the YouTube earlier, and
Nope.
I saw the email late, and I was like, "Dang it!" Because I was intently rocking with the other 4K people that were on YouTube. I was in the Instagram chat, letting you guys know about the audio quality. You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
We about 7,400 in here right now, just drinking.
Go.
I know you can't relate, but I'm far too many pours into this. So I know you already put a video out that I haven't been able to watch yet because we just went live immediately. Like,
I love that.
This is dog shit, right?
Yeah, you know, I was packing away and I saw your message, and all it said was whelp. And the first thing I thought was maybe they traded Fox. Like, that was the first. So I went to Twitter and I saw that the Kings parted ways with Mike Brown, and I was thinking about our conversation on Monday where I said, you know, it just doesn't feel right. Something doesn't smell right. There has to be something going on. The rotations are weird. People are falling in and out of favor with Mike Brown, and we don't really know why. Like, guys are like not really talking about it. These press conferences are weird. And like nobody kind of knows what's going on. The vibes are not the same as they were 2 years ago when we had, you know, Mike Brown and his, you know, defensive player crown, and he's like doing the whole thing. But never in a million years would I think that this team would cut bait with a guy who just won Coach of the Year, but also more importantly signed an extension. Even if he is culpable in any way, like when you sign an extension, usually that locks a team in to have somebody for good or for bad for a while. So I was pretty stunned, especially considering how early it is in the season. And that's why I asked you guys in the chat, like, do you think De'Aaron and his team put any pressure on Manny in any way? Or was it the groundswell? Like, I woke up this morning, obviously the Detroit Pistons loss was kind of the chatter, but that was the catalyst to you and Kenny and a bunch of other people being like, all right, I'm all in on trading Fox now. I put out a video about what you would get in return and why he should go now instead of maybe in the off season or when you have less moves at your disposal. And maybe it was the groundswell from those who cover the team and fans that, oh man, like there's really like a revolution here going on. We need to make a change now because from where I'm standing, as much culpability as there is around Mike Brown, I don't think Mike Brown ever said, "Hey, go ahead and foul Jaden Ivey up 2
Yeah.
for a,
Right.
3 with the 4-point play."
Yeah, that's how we started this show. Is like, I like Mike, and I'm a fan of Mike Brown. I thought he was the right coach for this team, and he did not. Mike didn't sit on his fucking ass and not acquire players this offseason. Like, he didn't address the lack of depth at at the 3 and 4 position. Like, he didn't do that. Mike didn't foul Jaden Ivey yesterday on a 3-point shot. Mike Brown is not out there missing shots or not playing defense. Like, he's not doing any of that. But to, what Casey brought up earlier was what caused the rest of the Kings to not be able to do those things? Like, have they kind of tapped out from the Mike Brown regime? Are they kind of out on him? Do they feel like he doesn't work? Have they tuned him out? You go back to the Indiana game, TK, and that's the toughest one, man. They quit. Like, it's as simple as that. Sunday at the Golden One Center, Will knows it. Everybody watching this, the nearly 8,000 people watching this know this, saw that team quit. And it's hard to not look at Mike when that happens.
It's hard not to look at Mike, but it's also hard not to look at Foxy. Like, I feel like if you were to substitute, and we talked about this last year.
Yep.
What's the difference? How much better is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander than De'Aaron Fox? Folks, I think we have our answer now. Because I have always been rocking with SGA. You guys know how much I love De'Aaron Fox. Like, he's such a fun player to watch. He's so immensely talented. His clutch gene is off the charts. But Shai is a leader.
Yep.
Shai is like a very passionate, fiery guy on and off the court. And you see the way that his teammates respond to him. The whole dog pound press conferences, the way that everybody plays around him, he's elevating everyone else. And Shai gets to Oklahoma City, and all of a sudden, they really start to take off. And I think a lot of that probably had to do with Chris Paul too, taking him under his wing. But De'Aaron doesn't, unfortunately, from where I stand, have some of those abilities, those innate qualities of leadership. And so, like, if your leader, if your like star franchise player is lackadaisical and is kind of like not heartbroken at the end of games, like that what was that press conference yesterday? Like, what do you think needs to change? I don't know. Like, what happened? You saw what happened. We just didn't execute. That's bullshit. Like, we can't have that.
Yep.
And the media were trying to figure out. Everybody was asking the same question in little different ways. Like, maybe if I ask in this way, we'll get a real response. No,
because he won't fucking answer.
Yeah, and it's like, listen, I love you, but we're tired of this bullshit.
That's
like,
it.
You got Kings fans turning their back on you. Do you know how bad you have to be as a leader for them to be like, get this guy out the fuck out of here? Like,
just take accountability.
Yeah.
Just I fucked up. Like, that's it.
Hey, that's on me. I should not have done that. We should have fouled up 3 on a non-shooting foul. That's what we should have done. That's on me. That's my job as the max player. That we traded another max player because we were making room for me. That's on me, not on Mike, not on Keegan, not on Kayvon, nobody else but me. I fouled him. And like, Jaden Ivey's not even like I can't even believe he made that 3-pointer. Like, he's not a sniper. You know what I mean? Worst case, overtime. And then you hear Mike Brown kind of low key
Yep.
bus tossed De'Aaron.
Oh
No,
yeah,
low key.
it was.
High key.
Yeah,
We're like, oh, he's like, no reason we would ever
Mike-
be losing that game.
Mike stopped short of saying, "Look, I told these stupid motherfuckers to
that's the
foul."
vibe.
Like that's like, and you know, Mike is, you know, the late great Stuart Scott Cool is the other side of the pillow, but he's like, look, I'm clearly going down for this.
He even said it in today's presser. We're gonna see who rocks with me. We'll see who believes in you. We'll see who's really with you when everything goes bad and the adversity hits. Who's like really with you? You know who's not really with you? Manny.
I don't. So let me ask you. Let me ask you this, TK, and Will too. Do you think Mike deserved to be fired?
Deserve. I think in the hierarchy of deserve, I don't think he's the highest deserving.
My thing is like, if you tuned him out, or you stopped listening to him, like you lost the locker room. Who the fuck are you? This organization has made the playoffs one time in the last 2 decades. Y'all missed the playoffs last year. What are we talking? You're going to stop responding to the only guy who's had back-to-back 500 plus seasons since Rick Adelman? Y'all going to stop responding to him? Because what? Because who? Who's De'Aaron Fox to do that? Who? And from the best that I understand, De'Aaron and Mike have a fantastic relationship. From the best that I understand, Domas and Mike don't. But I have never questioned the way that Domantas Sabonis plays. So whether it's Herter or it's Malik or it's Trey or it's fucking Keegan, who are you to tune him out? Y'all have not earned that. Y'all haven't earned the ability to turn a coach out.
Pause.
Yeah.
Tune a coach out. No, thank you.
It feels like the Kings had, you know, when you go and you make a big purchase and you're so excited, and then you think about how much money you spent on that big purchase, and you're like, oh, that one hurts.
Yeah.
It feels like that's how the Kings kind of treated this offseason with the Mike Brown extension. And looking back on how weird that extension talk was, like maybe they just had like that immediate regret of like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that.
It didn't feel like they wanted to give him that money to begin with. How long it took, how much was leaked out about it in terms of like, oh, he could actually be gone and like the money needs to be this. And it was way too public for like a coaching dispute.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tell they were thinking long and hard about it, especially.
Pause.
Yep. Especially considering, like you said, Damian, they only missed the playoffs last year, and they had the best season that we can remember 2 years ago, and it was magic. That was magic.
And it was one fucking year.
And it was just
not even out of the first round either.
I swear to God.
And Jordy's gone because, like, at least could have had Jordy. You know, like now he's doing his thing in Brooklyn. You're like, well. No shade to Doug Christie, but like that's
here's what you should do. Film a video of Doug taking a baseball bat to the beam. Destroy that fucking beam and start over. I don't want to see you're gonna light the beam if the Kings beat the Lakers tomorrow and move to 4 games under 500. No, go destroy that shit. Throw it off the top of the Golden One Center, and when the team gets back to 500, if they get back to 500, then you can light it again.
Mm-hmm.
You have to construct it again first.
Well, you don't have to literally destroy it. Just
no, we want literal destruction.
Well, literal destruction. That is the motto of the Sacramento Kings this year. Literal destruction.
I think you're so right too, Damien. I was listening to you and Kenny earlier. I think Manny does. If he has a bad deadline, which is really sitting on your hands, and there's not a lot that you can do, like in terms of the assets that you have, that you really need a game changer and you need depth. Like you can usually acquire one of the other of those types of buckets, but getting both is really hard. Like you would really need to offer the Nets a lot to try to get like a Dorian Finney-Smith and a Cam Johnson, right? And I don't know what that would be. And you couldn't get rid of guys that you really want in the rotation. So it would be very tough. But if he doesn't do something to instill confidence or get things back on track, like you've got to think about, or at least pull the trigger on blowing this whole thing up. Like Monty's got to go. Nobody's untouchable. Nobody. Like Domas is not untouchable. De'Aaron's not untouchable. Like it needs to be sort of thought about in a new way. And I don't know what's going to happen in Minnesota with Tim Connolly. If he's going to stay, he's got an option year, and Minnesota's a dumpster fire. And maybe he doesn't like the ownership situation there. You have to think like we'll give Tim Connolly, if this is an option, go just offer Tim Connolly anything he wants under the sun, moon, and the stars.
Is there a player on the Kings roster that you would like? Who's your top pick to build around if you were to tear it down? If you could keep one player, is it Keegan?
It's Domas for me.
Yeah, and I'd play him at the 4.
Yeah, we gotta. I think one thing, like, we gotta stop pretending like Domas isn't really good. Like Domas,
so good.
His time in Sacramento, he's a 2-time All NBA player, and he's on track to having a better year than he did those 2 years. Of course, the team is ass, but the one guy I just refuse to point the finger at is Domantas Sabonis.
Career year.
Like when you talk about caring, and I know a lot of these are the
Here's a lot.
yeah, right. Like it's I know a lot of this is like intangible stuff and you're trying to read things. And I always point to this stupid ass game, TK, a couple of years ago at this time when my family was like, it was the Beam team year.
The Wizards.
I want to see the Beam. Like, it's like, all right, I got 8 people tickets to the Wizards game.
Oh.
Fucking they were awful. In the fourth quarter, there was one guy. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. One guy. And it was Domas. And you saw that you saw that through the rest of the Beam team year. You saw that last year. And you're seeing it this year. Like, you can have your frustrations with Domantas Sabonis. You could be one of those high-level NBA national writers who's, you have a ceiling with Domantas Sabonis. Like, that's fine. I never question whether he cares whether this team wins or loses a game. I have never watched a game and went, man, Domas really kind of coasted this one. But I've said that countless times when it comes to 5. And like when you talk about the top players in the league, whether it's Book, whether it's Ant-Man, or whether it's the upper echelon players, you never question. Shit, you put Anthony Davis in that category. You never question whether they're coasting or whether they care. And you do that repeatedly with De'Aaron Fox. And in my opinion, that's not normal. When you're talking about top players in the league, that's not normal.
And you can't have that with a guard. Like you can have it in different positions, but I don't think you can have that with a lead guard, somebody who has the ball in their hands. Like that's the problem that the Nuggets are running into with Jamal Murray right now is I don't think Jamal Murray gives a fuck right now, personally.
Right. Yeah.
And like, do you know that the best net rating 5 in the league right now is Jokic, Christian Brown, MPJ, Aaron Gordon, and Russell Westbrook. And when you take Russell Westbrook off that 5 and you put Jamal Murray on, it's a negative 4.5. It's like a 31 net rating. Like
That's
Russell
wild.
Westbrook gives a fuck. That's what he does.
Yeah.
So
So
I
what
don't
you're saying
think
is
his
the
guards-
Kings should trade for Russell Westbrook. That's what I'm hearing. Make Damian real happy.
I like Fox. I really like him as a guy. I like him as a player. Like I just don't like him as your lead guy.
Mhm.
And I don't think Domas is gonna be like the vocal dude. He's gonna care, but I don't think he's like what you want to build as your emotional, like raw dude. Like you have to have one other.
I think I think he's a little more vocal than we recognize, but I also agree you don't want him being the 1-1.
Yeah.
You probably want him being the 1-2 or the 1B or whatever, however you want to phrase that. You probably want like someone else in that regard. But he's I think he's more vocal than De'Aaron is. I think he's more vocal than anyone on this team is. You know, I haven't really gotten a feel for what DeMar is in that regard, but I think
taking money.
It
That's
still
what he's
feels like it's
doing.
the Kings and DeMar. Like it hasn't felt cohesive at all.
Yeah, I think they should look to trade DeMar to a contender.
Well, now we've got babies making a run in.
All right.
Yeah, I think you got to put everybody. You out of here, Will?
I am. I'm gonna drop. I'll see you guys.
All right. Appreciate
See
you,
ya.
Will.
Bye.
Yeah, I think we gotta look at everything on the table.
I'm with you. I can't believe it's fucking December 27th, dude. We didn't even make
This is some Adrian Griffin stuff right now.
We didn't, but at least wasn't that team good?
Wasn't they 30-13 when they played?
Yeah, like that team was good. This
That
is
was later than this. That was later than this.
I can't believe we didn't even make it to 20. It was I not joked, but like I said this, you know, when it was man, things like look off. Like it was 1 year. We got 1 year. And then this shit just spiraled back into being King stuff. And that's where we're at. We're just back to King stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty flabbergasted. I might just have to come through and hang out in Sacramento as a whole.
Pull up.
Walk the concourse. You know what I mean? Like we'll just do the concourse walk. We might not
That's all we
watch
do.
many gangs. Yeah.
Yeah, just do the concourse walk, man, and we'll end it here because, as I said before TK joined, I've had a little bit to drink, and I'm going to see Snoop. No, I'm good.
Your red bone. The red bone's coming out.
Yeah,
It's like a little sweaty. The alcohol's making your cheeks flush. So do your thing, man. Enjoy Snoop. Drown your sorrows. Have an edible.
they play the Lakers tomorrow. Like that's the funny part about this is it could all fucking get worse. They play the Lakers tomorrow where they are facing because everyone thought the 4-0 Domas owns Anthony Davis was really funny like a year ago. And now all of a sudden we're in a new year. We're 0-3 facing 0-4 and a 6-game losing streak tomorrow night.
Fantastic. Everyone tune in.
Happy fucking New Year. I think Deuce and Mo are still live. Head over and check them out. Appreciate the 8,391 people that are watching right now.
King's Pain is,
you can't
going
make that.
up.
You can't make that gesture on the. Never mind. We'll talk about it later. We love y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Appreciate you.
See ya.